Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Yes, you are both Chair, visible and audible.
Thank you so much. Is this you and me who miss one another every time on the phone?
I see it was not a good day for us today.
Later.
Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon, fighter. You are muted.
I'm saying I won't be participating actively much today because I'm in a situation. We just had a match, so I'll be listening most of the time, but I'm here.
You're welcome, Honorable Youth.
And my uniform that I'm wearing is not allowed in Parliament. Okay.
You must go and wear the green one.
The green one, I'm scared of it.
Hey, Madam Zaman, we'll show
I'm
you.
scared. Huh?
Don't show that T-shirt, eh?
The green one, I'm scared of it. No, I'm not gonna show it.
Sharp.
I'm not gonna be visual. I'll be vocal.
In the morning.
Yeah. So can I say a joke? Chair, this is me. Under normal circumstances, I know that we wake up and get into the committee. So I get up at nine, around 9. I'm thinking, I'm late. And I get into the committee, waiting there. I see no one coming in. And I went to check and I saw the timer saying 14:30. After waiting something like 15, 20 minutes, I only saw at that time that it was at 14:30. Hey, these things.
Also myself, that is why I asked you, because I was sure that this is past 12 or whatever.
Now let me share a joke. I worked at the mine, in Valrus mine in Klerksdorp, Matlosana, and very hard work in the procurement department. And on a Sunday afternoon, I slept. And I wake up 1 o'clock and I decided to pack and take my bag and go wait for the bus on a Sunday afternoon to go to work for the bus who's coming 5 o'clock in the morning. So it happened.
You go to work when it was no work day.
Yeah, I see all the soccer players is coming back. I said, no, why are you playing soccer so early?
These things they do happen. Sometimes you get dislocated. It's only that I had too many things lined up for today. I'm on my way. I was supposed to go and participate in Black Coffee's foundations. They've got an engagement, discussions on the sector, and I was supposed to be part of the panel there. So because I thought there's a committee, I then said, no, they must move me to later, only to realize that the committee is in the afternoon.
No, in the morning we had portfolio committee from 10 o'clock until 1.
You were not at the plenary?
No, I was just listening. On our side, it was Munyai, the minister was social development.
Ketile.
We are overworked. What can we do?
Honorable members and guests, welcome to this virtual Portfolio Committee meeting. All members who have logged in are considered to be present and not at Black Friday. Members are requested to mute their microphones. Only if a member or other participant would like to speak, they must raise their hands using the button on their gadget. The secretary will assist me in this regard. When requested or recognized, do so and unmute and speak then. Remember, honorable members and guests, that the microphones are very sensitive and it picks up noises which may disturb the attention of others. And when we speak, please unmute. You are also permitted to switch on our videos, as these events are being also shown, and some of the clips are used for meetings. Members, the first item on the agenda is the welcoming introduction, apologies, and adoption of the draft agenda, overview by the department, and then the remarks by SASCOC, as well as a presentation by South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled. Following those presentations, we will have deliberations and closing remarks. With that said, honorable members, may I get an indication whether there is any member who would like to propose, and also any member who would like to second the agenda as in front of us.
I propose the adoption of the agenda, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khabo.
Thank you very much, Chair. Pass my greetings to yourself and members. I also stand to second the agenda as it is, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khabo. Is there any apologies, Secretary?
Good afternoon, Chair. Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. We do have an apology from Ms. Potgieter, who is having another commitment and will join the meeting after 3. That is the only apology that we have, Chair. Thank you very much.
Please, if there is any other apology of any member on behalf of his or her colleague, and from the side of the department, the side from SASCOC, I think there is an apology for SASCOC, but SASCOC can do that as well. And from the side of the African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee. Please, from the side of DSEC.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. This is Dr. Khumalo, DG Sport Arts and Culture. I believed that there was an apology that was sent or supposed to be sent, maybe I should put it like that, on behalf of the Deputy Minister. She is out of the country on the international work commitments, together with the DDG Sport, Mr. Campbell, but we have the acting DDG here with us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. SASCOC?
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to all the board members, the Minister and his office, and the department. We've just arrived back from today from Scotland after attending the Commonwealth Games Federation's annual general meeting. So we're quite tired, but it was important for us to attend this meeting. SASAPD is one of our key partners and federations, disability sport. This year we won a few medals in swimming as well.
My apologies, Mr. Hendricks. I can see you are suffering from serious jet lag. We are dealing with apologies.
Oh, okay, sorry, my apologies. Okay, so none from outside. We have Ms. Patience Ikumbana and Mr. Leon Fleischer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And President, the CEO will be joining as soon as she can.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is there any apologies from the Association for Physically Disabled?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. My name is Jane Mahos. I am the president of SASAPD. All members are present. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is the minister in this meeting?
Yes, I'm in this meeting.
Oh, welcome,
Yes,
Minister.
Chair.
Welcome, Minister.
How are you, Chair?
I'm fine, Minister. Some are suffering jet lag and others are suffering by-election fatigue.
My condolences for the results.
Order, the chair and the minister. Order, please.
Honorable members, ahead of the International Day of Persons with Disability on the 3rd of December, Parliament marked a first and historic meeting with the South African Sport Association for Physical Disabled. Even if it's Friday, Black Friday, for what it's worth, our presence here today is not about bargains or discounts, but is the fact that we value the voices of persons with disability. Disabled sport has never been a matter of welfare or health. It has always belonged rightfully to the Department of Basic Education, to the Department of Higher Education, and also to the Department of Sport. To frame it otherwise, it is to diminish both its history and its rightful place in our national development. We must confront the hard truth. Athletes with visual and cerebral impairments require far greater support than their able-bodied counterparts. They cannot simply be left to navigate events alone. They need guidance, they need assistance, and officials who accompany them, they also need them, not only on the field of play, but in the most basic aspects of participation, moving between venues, finding their way to meals, and ensuring that dignity is protected in every way, or rather in every step. Yes, despite the obvious reality that both SASCOC and DSEC continue to assign and fund support officials on the same basis, at the same cost, as if disabled athletes were no different from able bodies and athletes. This is not equity. This is neglect disguised as uniformity. Equality does not mean same or sameness. It means fairness, and fairness demands recognition of the additional support for these athletes and what they require. Honorable members, an allocation of 1.7 million to the South African Sport Association for the physically disabled is nothing short of an insult. This is an association that has produced athletes who carried our flag proudly at the Paralympic Games, yet we treat them as an afterthought. Meanwhile, federations such as boxing, who receive funds to the tune of 20 million, and soccer have parallel structures that also cater for disabled athletes. If these federations can be resourced, why is it that the one with a proven track record of international representation left to scrape or just pass by? Let us be honest, boxing, as we are speaking here today, cannot be rolled out in schools, in contrast to other sport. But across this country, we have thousands of disabled children in schools who could benefit directly from the program of this particular association. And it is not happening. Instead of empowering them, we are starving this institution that can transform lives. This is not just about numbers on a budget line. It is about equity, it is about dignity, and it's about opportunity. If we are serious about inclusivity, then we must capacitate the South African Sport Association for the physically disabled, not with crumbs, but with the resources required to unlock the full potential of our athletes and our children, to ensure that disabled athletes, artists, and citizens are celebrated and supported and empowered. On behalf of this portfolio committee, I would like to wish the association well and also endeavors, and please carry our wishes over on the 3rd of December during your celebration. With that said, I am now going to invite the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to present to us their overview.
Chairperson, thank you very much. And maybe let me greet properly, extending greetings to yourself, all the honorable members, the minister, the president of the SASAPD, and the executive and management that are here. Chairperson, without wasting your time, the acting DDG together with the chief director would take the committee through the presentation. Simpiwe, I'm not sure whether you want to start or we go straight to Tebogo, just to save on time.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and the members of the committee and the minister. We'll go straight to the presentation. Mr. Tebehai would do the presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngube. To Minister, Chairperson, members of Portfolio, DG, and colleagues, good afternoon. I'll just zoom straight into the presentation, which came from the brief of Parliament, wherein the SASAPD is required to brief the Portfolio Committee on the annual report and for us to provide an overview and our SLA and provide also the SASCOC will provide their overview as well. So I'll proceed to the next slide, Chairperson. Safe to say that South African sport for people with physically disabled, it's one of the 68 federations that we provide the allocations to. And I must indicate, Chair, that on average, each of these federations receive an annual of about 2 million. So this year, or during the 24-25 financial year, we had allocated about 1.7 million to the federation. You can proceed to the next slide. To the federation, basically with the SLA that indicates what are to be covered and what is to be delivered by the federation with that allocation. One of them was for them to be able to stage the AGM, which they did on the 11th of October recently, but also to support the Boschia development program, which includes, amongst others, the senior males and female team, for which when they went to prepare for the 2024 Paralympic Games. And out of that 1.7, they allocated 800,000 for that preparation. But also there's a sporting code called Goal Ball within the federation that we had allocated. Largely this one gets support from both this allocation of 1.7, but also within the school sport program, they do have a support there where that allows them to prepare their junior programs that they deliver through the Gold Ball program. So this allocation was also meant to allow them to do particularly the classification, interprovincial games and national championships. And that's the allocation that we had allocated for them. Proceed. The other important element of the federation is the issue around capacity building, especially when it comes to classification and development of classifiers. And so this classification also was allocated about 300,000 of that allocation of 1.7 million that we are indicating there at the bottom. And also this is over and above what I was mentioning, that there's also an allocation through the school sport program that allows the development of goal ball and other sporting codes that are coordinated by SASAPD. Proceed. So just within school sport program alone, I want to zoom into that to indicate that the program covers quintile 1 to quintile 5 schools across all 9 provinces. And this you find in rural, urban, disadvantaged communities and farm areas. As you'll know that majority of the sporting codes are played in, or the participants come from the special schools or the ELSIN schools. And the number of sporting codes that are really supported by DSEC coming from the disability sector covers the list of those codes that you see there. I won't go in detail with them, but you'll see that there's mild intellectual disability learners, there's deaf, and there's severe intellectual impaired learners with disability, and wheelchair tennis, including table tennis for wheelchair users as well. So these are the number of sporting codes. I think athletics still becomes the number one sporting code that has the largest number of participants coming from SASAPD. There are various number types of disability learners that are there, and the list is there, as you can see. And these are supported through programs. There are plans that we are engaging. I think one of the things that we are doing is to engage all the formations for sports of disability groups, that is the deaf group and the SASAPD, those that are of MID, mild intellectual disability learners, and try and ensure that we have at least cover the support across all. They remain part of the program or structures that we support through the school sport programs, but also we are encouraging that we need to have also formal regular participation structures at the local level, wherein we are also supporting through school sport program their programs at that particular level, and that they can also grow into a competition. Proceed. So just as an example, and I'm just, so of all the sporting codes that we have supported in this current financial year, you'll see that in swimming, we had para swimmers that participated at the championships. In terms of netball, there were those various groups of disabilities that we supported. In gymnastics, as well as goalball, including table tennis. Those that are highlighted in green, those are the number of learners that participated. And what you see in terms of the numbers is the numbers that the teams, provincial teams, would have had to send per category to participate at the championships. Proceed. And furthermore, in the other championships, there's ELSIN group that we also supported, the under-19 para, the tennis, wheelchair tennis during the summer championship that is coming now in December, and also we'll be having wheelchair basketball now during the championships in December. So all our championships are always considerate and supporting learners with disability. And this is what we're looking for in the outer years, and the same categories of learners we are supporting on from the same sporting codes that I have mentioned earlier. Thank you. You can proceed. So we think that through school sport program, we are able to create a pathway for all the sporting codes to provide excellence and development programs and provide a competition at national level in which everybody can then express and show their talents. Continental and international participation are also covered here in terms of the qualification and link with those international competitions that federations may be wanting to participate in. I think that's what we have done to try and open it up to ensure that we are able to provide support to those higher structures. Training depends on the needs by the codes. So as and when there's a request for training, and because we give provinces the conditional grant, we then channel that for provinces to be able to facilitate the participation of the codes based on their needs to participate in training, and also support the transformation plans as we required to do and monitor that. Proceed. As far as club development is concerned, what we have noticed is that some provinces do allocate funds directly to federations, and in particular to assist the federation. And in this instance, the allocations to the SASAPD within provinces, you will see there that directly other provinces like Western Cape and Eastern Cape and Gauteng in Mpumalanga had provided direct financial support through an SLA with the SASAPD structures in those provinces, whereas in others it has been done through a programming, but goods and services being procured by the departments on behalf of the structures. And so it is important to note that there are provision of access to participate through the club structures that is being club development program. Key support include clubs transport to practice sessions, to play matches, affiliation fee, and administration and operational support. Proceed. So in general, Chair, I wanted to indicate that SASAPD is one of the compliance structures in terms of accountability for the funds allocated for both financial and non-financial performance. And also the Federation submits the grant in aid funding documents to DSEC. They do it on time so that we are able to expedite on time as well. The financial reports reflect all financial aspects and information related to the agreement and the agreed deliverables as per the SLA. The narrative reports also provide an explanatory information on what is the progress that has been achieved against those deliverables that were expected. This is being received by DSEC and is being reported as such. And that's why we think that SASAPD is one of the structures that are really compliant and are able to account fully for the allocated funds. I thank you, Chair and colleagues. Thanks.
Thank you so much, DSEC. I've allowed a little bit to say 2.5 minutes extra. SASCOC.
Thank you, Chair. Our CEO is also present with us now as we speak. SASAPD is a compliant member in good standing with SASCOC and has been so for many, many years. We were unfortunate to lose one of the greatest athletes this year, Muki Grobler, who was the previous president of SASAPD. And now we have Ms. Jean Michels on board. We've been able to assist SASAPD because SASCOC still has the responsibility to take 2 types of teams overseas to attend the World Championships, and that's swimming, disability swimming, as well as para athletics. And we have world champions in those events. And we've been consistent, and they've been consistent in that. The 1.7 million that's received by the Federation is, of course, will never be enough because it relates, if one simply looks at the number of athletes that they have, which is about 4,695, it equates to a per capita allocation of around 362 Rand a year. And that's never going to be enough to prepare champions and an athlete pathway. But over and above that, we look forward to next year as well, where we will have the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And there, the Commonwealth Games is the only multi-coded sport, mega multi-coded sport event that has physically abled as well as physically disabled events as this mega event. And we will be looking forward to taking our athletes in that regard. We have prepared a presentation as you've requested in the past, and Ms. Patience Chikwambana is ready to present a brief synopsis.
Mr. Hendricks, I just see a hand. Just a second. I suspect it's about the presentation. It has been flighted now. May we proceed, Honorable Molatsani? Or was it another input that you wanted to have?
Chairperson, I'm covered.
Thank you. Proceed, President.
Thank you. So, Patience, you on board?
Yes, no. Thank you very much, President. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, to Honorable members, also to our Honorable Minister who's in this meeting, the DG, colleagues from the department, to my CEO, and also my colleague Leon. Good afternoon. Same as us as SASCOC, once a federation has been accepted as a member, we have a responsibility to inform it that it still has to comply to membership annual compliance. And in terms of our bylaw, these are the things that we request the federation to submit. So from 10.1 to 10.4, these are the documents that they send to us. Their financial report or annual financial statements. They must also submit to us a copy of the agenda, including a notice and minutes of the AGMs that they have. And I just want to emphasize that on the issue of the notice, usually when we ask them to send it through, it's just for us to be sure that constitutional obligation has been met by the Federation, because some of them, they don't even adhere to what their constitution says in terms of timeline or timeframes when they call for these meetings. Then they must also submit a copy of the constitution if there's any changes that they've made or reviewed. And then obviously they must then indicate if they meet the general requirement as set out in our constitution if you are a member of SASCOC. Once we are not in good standing, we do allow them to attend our meetings, but unfortunately they are not able to speak or even vote in that meeting. Next slide, please. So these are the documents in terms of compliance that you ask them to submit. The updated constitution, I've already spoken about minutes, the AFs, the annual report. Also, we need a confirmation that they're in good standing with their international federation. Also, they must indicate if they've got commissions or subcommittees of their board or organizations. And then also the organogram in terms of how they are structured. From our side as SASCOC, we have developed as well a good governance assessment tool. That's where they check if really in terms of good governance, do they really comply? For example, do they have general meetings from their side? Do they do inductions once the members of that particular board has been elected? So there's quite a number of things that you ask them. For example, do they have safeguarding policy and all those things? And then also we have a NF membership audit form. In this one of NF's audit form, usually what you're asking them is around numbers in terms of affiliation in the entire country. Also, they must stipulate to us issues of gender, issues of race. And then obviously, as I said, safeguarding policy. We have taken a decision in the SASCOC General Assembly that any member of SASCOC without a safeguarding policy is going to be immediately suspended, because there's a lot that is happening, and we keep on saying as a sports sector, we've got a duty of care to make sure that we create a safer environment. And if you don't have a safeguarding policy and clear reporting system, then it's going to become a problem. Then they must also share with us calendar of events. And then lastly, obviously, they must confirm if they are an NPO or NPC, and they must send us that particular registration certificate. So this is a system that we use. We call it a robot system. We used to have Ember, and we realized that Ember does not help because it means we are not in good standing. So it's either it must be green or it must be red. And exactly what you are seeing there, it's a similar documents that I've just spoken to in the previous slide. So once you've got all in green, then you'll be compliant. And if not, then we're going to regard you as non-compliant. Next slide. So in terms of SASAPD, in relation to documents that they've submitted to us for 2024-2025, they've complied with all the documents that you see in front of you. So even from our side, as what the department has said, we are regarding them as a member in good standing, and they always do and make sure that they do comply with our membership annual requirement from our side. President, I'm going to end there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, SASCOC. I'm now going to call upon the South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled to their presentation.
Again, thank you, Honourable Chairperson, the Honourable Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, SASCOC. As a SASAPD, we want to thank you for this opportunity that you are giving us to come and present today. just so that the portfolio committee can also know more about us and how we operate and what we are doing as SASAPD. And like you were saying, Chairperson, it is really history in the making today for us as SASAPD being here. So I want to just introduce the executive quickly. We've got Mr. Michael Lawrence. He's ex-Paralympian. He's the Vice President of SASAPD. We've got Renette Barnard. She is here. She's doing development and transformation.
As you introduce them, is it possible that they just can switch on their videos?
Okay, I'll start again. Mr. Michael Lawrence, he's the Vice President. He's an ex-Paralympian. Thank you. Then we have Renette Barnard. She is there for development, transformation, and training. Where are you? Can you see her?
Can't see her. Stood dark.
Okay. Then we have Mr. Jan Wahl. He's the General Manager. Where's Jan? There's Jan. Then we have Mr. Lawrence van Heerden, who is a treasurer, and he will be the one that will present our presentation to the committee. So on that note, thank you very much for allowing us this platform today. Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, committee members, the President of SASCOC, DG, and all other protocols observed. Thank you very much for the opportunity to make a presentation here today. I just need to inquire, can we flag the presentation, or is it going to be flagged for us?
Yes, sir, you can flag it on your side.
Thank you. Let me just put it on slideshow. Okay, is it visible for everybody?
Yes, we can see.
Thank you very, very much. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity. We were going to try to keep it as brief as possible, but if we look at the overview, we'll deal with the background a little bit, our uniqueness in membership and affiliation, structuring, classification, good governance and compliance, the road to Paralympics, Project 350, and then the non-Paralympic sport that we deal with. Our president instructed me to some of the slides to run quickly over them, but some of the slides we need to share some more information to the committee. So I'm going to start with the presentation. SASAPD was founded in 1962, one of the oldest disability sport federations in South Africa. We're proudly 63 years old. Our role is the custodians of athletes with physically disabilities and visually impairments. And then our vision is to be the definitive home of parasport in South Africa, championing inclusion, excellence, and opportunity at every level of competition. And there are the five. We're a multi-sport federation serving 5 disabilities: spinal cord, amplitude, cerebral palsy, visual impairments, and les autres. Then I was requested to just focus a little bit on why we say we want to be the home of parasport. As SASAPD, we have a challenge because currently, if we look at the last 25 years, the medals are far less than it was 25 years ago. So we went into a strategic planning in April, and some of the things that we looked at, what are we doing that's not working? We must backtrack to the golden years. If I can give an example, in Sydney 2000, it was 21 medals. Athens 2004, 35 medals. Beijing 2008, 30 medals. London 2012, 29. Rio 2016, 17. Tokyo 2020, which was held in 2021, 7. And Paris 2024, 6 medals. So we dropped from an average of 30 medals to 6 medals. So something is wrong. And we wanted to know, what is our role? What can we play to come back to a situation that we address this low medal tally? So we were looking at the Beijing 2008 Paralympics because that was a very good Olympics for us. And one thing that we picked up, in swimming there were 9 medals. We had Natalie de Tooy, 5 gold medals. But there was youngsters coming up, Kevin Paul, Michelle Bauer, Ahmad Sim, Shireen Sapiro. Currently, if we look at the swimming environment, There's no, the development is our challenge. So what role can we play to support that? Support Swimming South Africa with that responsibility, because that's Swimming South Africa's responsibility. If we look at athletics, we could see that there was an Oscar Pistorius with 3 medals, and there was a Hilton Langenhoven and a Fani. There was a lot of athletes coming through the ranks that can support that. So in 2008, we came 6th overall out of 146 countries. 2024, we came 146 out of 170 countries with a total medal drop of 83%. So we are concerned. So as SASAPD, we had our strategic planning. We looked at what are some of the challenges. So something significant that happened is in the early 2000s, disabled sport started through the transformation process to go over to the able body federations. In 2005 to 2006, Sport and Rec South Africa formally directed mainstreaming federations to absorb disabled sport. And post 2006, all the technical responsibilities moved to the mainstream federations. So we had a hype of 30 medals. We went the downward spiral to 6 medals. So we said, what is the challenge? Why the decline? And you said there's a loss of specialization focus. So SASAPDs were sidelined in the handover to the Able Body Federation to support that structure. The athlete development pipeline is a challenge. So we need to rebuild parasport from scratch in most of the federations. Coaches, administrators, technical officials, and the international platform, we need to be visible there. So we benchmarked with the golden years, where athletes came through, and something that we picked up that is really critical for us. Those years, the athletes came from families that can support and finance their sport dreams. Currently, with 90% plus of our athletes coming from previously disadvantaged families, we rely on disability grants, budget that we received from our sponsors. So we are very fortunate to get the support from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, the SASCOC. We're also engaging with the National Lotteries Commission, but we cannot understand why we put a business plan and we only get 800,000 from lotteries. So the new business plan was submitted and we're waiting for feedback. A little bit of concern for us is that this is the final year of our sponsorship with Toyota South Africa, and we're engaging them, and it seems that we're going to be fortunate to extend that sponsorship because they were very happy with the way that we manage our affairs and also the marketing. So yeah, in our strategic planning, we said back to basics. I think that is why we also said we need to create a home for parasport. We need to support them, and I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit later. So uniqueness in our membership, SASAPD is proudly affiliated to World Ability Sport, World Boccia, International Blind Sport Federation, and International Federation of Cerebral Palsy Football. This makes it unique because we are affiliated there, but SASCOC is the affiliate to the International Paralympic Committee. So there need to be a very good working relationship between us and SASCOC, because if an athlete must come through SASAPD to a International Blind Sport Federation event, and that's where they qualify to be elected or selected for Team South Africa. So if there's not a good working relationship between us, the athletes are going to suffer because the difference in affiliation. So we can't work without each other. Structuring, we've got 8 sporting codes that we're responsible for. I'm going to elaborate on them a little bit later. But currently, we've got our national structure, 9 provincial structures, 8 sporting code conveners, and the 84 clubs that we are serving currently. Heartbeat. Classification is the heartbeat of parasport. This is the cornerstone of parasport. You cannot participate in any organized parasport if you are not properly classified. That is basically to ensure fair, transparent, and equitable competition at all levels. So classification, we build our sport on classification. And if we can look at the currently, through the years, we've built a good pool of classifiers that can support the classification process. at a provincial level, a national level, and then we also have international classifiers that can assist us at that level. Unfortunately, if we want to classify our athletes internationally, you need to get a team of a minimum of 5 people or classifiers into South Africa to classify, or we need to basically send athletes to international events to be classified, because our classifiers cannot classify our own athletes for international classification. Technical officials, we are also represented at the international level, and also we've got board members on World Boccia and World Ability Sport at this stage. I don't think I have to elaborate a lot on the good governance and the compliance. I think that was indicated already, that we are in good standing with the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, as well as SASCOC. But I think we need to mention that we received the amount of 800,904 rand for our grant from DSEC. We also received the first tranche of the athlete support program, the 250,000. We are still awaiting the refund of R1 million that we utilized for sending athletes to the World Boccia African Regional Championship, because that was a very critical event to participate in. So that is also in process. We also submitted all our reports to DSD as an NPO, so we're in good standing with them. We're a public benefit organization, VAT compliant, and we can issue Article 18A certificates, which assist us a lot during fundraising. Road to Paralympics. In the 2024 Paralympics, South Africa secured 34 slots, of which 22 of that slots came from SASAPD athletes. And if we look at the snapshot from 2024, there were six medals at Olympics and 6 medals at Paralympics, which this is the federation that brought back the most medals by 4 medals from our athletes participating in para-athletics. The target, Project 350, was to increase to 50 slots, and we indicated that during our planning on our strategic plan up to 2032, we will working very hard to generate 30 slots, increasing from the 22 that our federation produced to 30, and then eventually to 40 slots. At our strategic planning, there was critical discussions on growing our membership, enhancing classification opportunities, establishing clear athlete development pathways, and enhancing international participation. And that's very critical, but I will explain that a little bit later. As SASAPD, we are confronted with a lot of other disabled structures that are currently with the able-bodied federations to request to come back to SASAPD, to fall under SASAPD, because sometimes they feel not supported by the able-bodied federations. Because if we look at the budgeting process of able-bodied federations, there's only a very small amount of support that goes to our para-athletes. So we received requests from para-table tennis, blind football, blind cricket, amputee football, para-netball, disabled bank angling, para-dart. So there's a lot of federations that really wants to engage with us, but it's difficult at this stage because we actually need to, our approach will be different, and I'm going to explain it now. We want to go into service level agreements with able-bodied federations. For an example, if swimming has got para-swimmers, we want to go in a service level agreement and say, how can we support the process to get swimmers to achieve accolades at the highest level? So this year, for an example, we funded a team to go to Namibia short course gala for the swimmers, just to give young upcoming swimmers that first level of international competition, because that's critical. I think the building blocks need to be there. And as we said, our focus is 2032. So if we can get the young athletes prepared through the processes, by 2032, we'll be able to reach our targets. Very briefly, I'm just going to take it each sporting code, or code by code, just to give a very brief explanation. With Boccia, countries, I just need to say something. One of the success stories of SASAPD is that in 2020, we decided to support boccia as a sporting code to see if we can get the boccia team to participate at Paralympics 2024, and with the option of with the vision of getting a team to medal at 2028. We achieved the first hurdle. We got a team that participated at Paris 2024. So I think that was a good accolade, and that was money well spent. So from savings, we allocated funding for the development of boccia, and we really reaped the benefits from that. Now, what makes disabled sport a little bit different is that you need, there's slots that are created. You cannot just say, I ran the qualifying time, now I'm going to Paralympics. Each country gets a few slots. And that is why we need to compete at international events as much as possible. For an example, the route for boccia to Paralympics 2028 is that we need to be the winner of the African regional continent if for the pairs and the teams. Individual athletes need to participate at world sanctioned events so that they can get points and the system, and that is where Jan Val can explain that in detail. So we need to secure funding to support these athletes. So key events for boccia for qualification is World Champions next year. We've got 4 people that qualified for that, and then the African Regional Championships. So the critical events was indicated, the Cairo 2025 African Regionals that we attended, and the 2026 World Boccia Championship. Something strategically that we as a country need to look at is that if we host, and the bids are opening now, the 2027 African Regional Championship, our athletes got the home advantage. So they will be more comfortable, and creating slots or winning their classes will be much easier than taking a team over to Egypt, where it's usually held. Our athletes can just benefit from home advantage. And then boccia is severely disabled athletes requiring caretaker and ramp operator. So every athlete need to have 2 staff basically supporting him, a caretaker and a ramp operator, which makes it very costly. If we look at goalball, goalball was confirmed as part of the 2028 Paralympics program. Slot generation is South Africa can earn participation slot for Paralympics through the performance at World Champs and also the IPSA African Goalball Championship. Critical events was mentioned. Again, our goalball is at the stage of we are growing the sport now. We're not very competitive, even if we look at the continent, but we are currently doing development a lot in goalball, similar to what we did to boccia. So this is the next code that we identified. Boccia is running, so now we're looking at the second code that we can support. And this is basically blind athletes, and that also has a cost implication. Judo for the blind, classification is currently our biggest challenge. So we need to get athletes to participate at international events to get international classification. One of our athletes also need to be reclassified because his situation is getting worse. So that will put him in the J2 category, which will be easier for him to get a better ranking internationally. I think the events, the critical events were indicated there, your IPSA Judo Grand Prix and Judo World Championships. Para-athletics, classification. That's a huge challenge for us. We've got a few upcoming stars now that need to be reclassified, and some of them need to be classified internationally, which means is that we need to get the athletes on at international events. So we looked at a few events. Annually, the SASAPD National Championships is a sanctioned event, but that Mr. Jan Val can explain to you a little bit later. But that is the route for our para-athletes to get to Paralympics and to peak at that time frame, because at 2028 they need to be ready, and this is some of the key events that they need to attend. If you look at powerlifting, South Africa was known for powerlifting, and through the years, I don't know what really happened here. We looked at it. The athletes just got less and less and less. We've got a few bright stars coming up, and we need to really say thank you to the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture with the athletes grants they're giving us, because there are three para powerlifters on that program, and we're trying to support them to get them ready to participate at these events. So yeah, they need to get ranking points, so this means they need to participate at international level, and that is a challenge because none of them are classified at this stage. I can just mention at some stage that the para powerlifting did very, very good at the World Championships, and I think we are in a position to, if we can give them the necessary support, to get to that scenario, that stage again, that we can compete at the international level. Paracycling is a different story. That is one of the sporting codes, the same with swimming, that we are responsible basically for trying to support juniors, because paracycling basically is at Cycling South Africa and paraswimming at Swimming South Africa. The concerns that we have is that the development pipeline is not in place. If we look at the athletes coming through, it's only a few. So I think it's critical. We decided to assist with that, but that comes at a cost. So we need to take funding that we received in the federation away from athletes that can qualify for Paralympics and try to support these sporting codes as well, which is a little bit unfair towards your possible Paralympians, but we need to develop the sport, otherwise there's no pathways for them. Cerebral palsy football, we had an excellent meeting with the International Federation of Cerebral Palsy CEO. They are interested in supporting us. So next year in our national championships in Stellenbosch, the CEO of IFCPF will be joining us, and to see how can we work towards getting more support from them. We're also going to send a team, our coordinator for CP football, to go and attend one of the UK programs, so that we can learn from them at their cost. So they are really eager to support us. But it's critical that we look at hosting an African regional championships, but that will come at a cost. We also had our first meeting with SAFA to see how we can work together in this process. And it was a very positive meeting, so we're very excited about that. That is this 8 sporting codes, and that's a very brief background because we've got a time limit, and I trust that the information shared can be of some assistance, and then we will gladly answer the questions. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Van Heerden. You have also mentioned another name due to the veracity of this meeting and these cases that you have tabled. If that person would like to speak, I will really give an opportunity. Or shall we accept the presentation as is?
Good afternoon to all protocol observed. As a national manager for SASAPD side, the guidance regarding the qualification and slots for Paralympics is quite a, how can I say, it's a very difficult system to understand. It's quite a system where it goes about slot generation, slot qualification, meaning at the World Championships, for instance, and this is only an example, at World Championships for Para-athletics, when you're in position 1, 2, 3, and 4, you qualify one slot for your country. Meaning, if we come back from a World Champs and we have and we've got 5 athletes inside the top 4, then we've got 4 slots. In the past, the slots was generated for the country, and then after that, we'll go to what we call high-performance slots. High-performance slots is where your athletes gets considered, and due to the fact that they are on a certain ranking list. All our sporting codes works on rankings. It works on an international ranking basis, where we will start in the 1st of March. We'll start with the qualification period for the Paralympics. 2028. So meaning in this whole period, when we can generate slots to take part in international events, to go to possible continental events. And this is where it comes into where Mr. Van Heerden asked me to go over to a sanction event. What we'll do is the different sporting codes will host a sanction event, meaning it is an international event, where we'll have international delegates that is part of the technical committee and the technical delegate on and off the field. There will be possible countries, African countries, taking part at this event of ours, meaning that all our results of our athletes that is classified and that is registered on the sport data management system of the Paralympic Committee can qualify for possible slot generations or get possible slots on the different events that they are taking part in. Then at this possible sanction event, we can also apply for a international classification. Then there will be a classification panel that will come. This is normally approximately 10 for classifiers for VI, 10 classifiers for PI. That will be your visually impaired and your physically disabled classification teams that will come. We have thought about it in the past to bring in classifiers to all our events, but the bad thing about this is our classifiers cannot see our athletes, our South African athletes, that they must be done by international, and they also just see 10 athletes per day. That's due to the rules and regulations of the international board or the organization like World Para-Athletics. So we really want to have a pathway of qualification of our athletes. So we are in the process, and we are very grateful for SASCOC assisting us with the applications of all these events. So we are doing our utmost best to see how we can qualify at this stage, making a box work. But our box is getting too small because the world is really going out there to generate some slots. That's all from my side. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Mr. Van Heerden, for your powerful presentation. Given the advocacy that we have just heard, I think there's numerous questions throughout the presentation of the Physically Disabled Association. I think we need a response from the Minister as well as DSEC later on, after members start their questions, on how are we going to deal, especially with the issue of able bodies vis-a-vis disabled bodies who are dealing with parallel structures, because parallel structures, or rather duplication, actually is a nest or potential to brew confusion. And it is important that one or a particular body must deal with a mandate. Otherwise, the public is going to pay for confusion. The DSEC also on several times make references to basketball in schools. We are aware that they are in a mess and that the department did not finance them. So also we want a response on which body is going to oversee that basketball in sports. Honorable members, I'm now going to invite members who would like to ask questions, make comments, to please raise your hands. The Honorable Marlon Daniels, followed by Honorable Kobani. That I'm seeing, followed by Honorable Makhato, followed by Honorable Khabo, then Honorable Molatani. Those are the names. Honorable Daniels, please proceed.
Thank you very much,
Please
Chairperson.
unmute.
I am on mute. Can you hear me, Chairperson?
Yes,
Thank
please
you.
proceed.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon to the Minister and the DG, to our guests for the day, to the DSAC department, to the officials. Good afternoon to all of you. I'll be very brief, Chairperson. I know that all over these athletes are referred to as physically disabled. But you know, Chairperson, I hold a view that those referred to as physically disabled many a times achieve much more than those referenced as physically abled. If someone is, let me make an example, if someone is dissatisfied, that means they're not satisfied. If you're disadvantaged, then you're not advantaged. If you're referred to as being disabled, then it means you are not able. But I hold the view that these athletes are way above and beyond able to achieve what they are set out to achieve. So I'd rather prefer to refer to these athletes as differently abled athletes, Chairperson. I just want to know the state of readiness. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming up in Glasgow next year. We've got the Cerebral Palsy Football National Championships right here on our doorstep in Stellenbosch next year. And that is why I want to know what our state of readiness is. And Mr. Van Heerden, I also want to welcome, and as well as to Mr. Wall, I want to appreciate your presentations. But I see there, Mr. Van Heerden was stressing that we need to rebuild parasport from scratch. Now, that is a very powerful request and cry out for assistance to ensure that we build it from scratch. To DSAC, Chairperson and colleagues, I want to know what plan DSAC has in terms of assisting or reaching out to this cry out from Mr. Van Heerden to rebuild from scratch. And with the operative word being rebuild, meaning then that what is there is no more. So when we have to look at rebuilding, then we have to look at the continuum of sports and then start with the grassroots levels, where before we, our schools, we need to engage them, before we can get to the participation level of the continuum, let alone progressing to the elite level. So is there a plan to assist this cry out? Because our medal drop of 83% speaks volumes as to why I can understand Mr. Van Heerden requesting that we rebuild from scratch. So has DSAC got a plan to grow the sport at grassroots levels? And that is pretty much for now, Honorable Chairperson, that I want to land on. I'll come around next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. I'm now going to call upon Honorable Kobani.
Thank you, Chair. I've listened to the beautiful presentation, both sides. I want to start from the first presentation about the provinces for disabled. I've seen in the provinces it's too much zero, because they never explain why here we never do, we never sponsor, they will never put donation. There is no explanation in their presentation, but they said they're working all the provinces. I see Malipombo is zero. I see Northwest is zero. Most of 0-0. I want to understand why is 0-0. Maybe those provinces that have money already, or that don't have it, I don't understand. I want to understand that. And then I'm coming to the last presentation. I've seen the introductions. We know how many in the committee you are. How many African people are there? Because I see only one mama there, African lady. We need the committee to be mixed with South African genders, men, women in your organization. But I never see only much, I just see one. It's what I want to ask. I don't have so much to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kobai. The Honorable Makata.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to the Minister, all our guests, and all the honorable members. I just want to welcome all the presentations. Let me start with SASCOC. They speak about the requirements. My first question is to say, do they qualify with the membership annual compliances, so that we can hear as the portfolio committee whether they comply or what? Again, the other question was asked by Kubai. I'm also want to go to that question again. The equity transformation. The club development funding support only 4 of 9 provinces: Eastern Cape, Gauteng, Western Cape, and also Mpumalanga. So I just want to say, what strategies addresses the absence of the gold ball clubs in Northern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, Northern Cape, and also Limpopo? And again, how does the provincial participation in school sports program corrective with the Paralympic athletic pathways? And again, how many school age athletics require classification annually, and what is the current backlog? And again, what percentage of DSEC total sports federation budget does let's say disability receive, and how does this compare to able bodies federation, given SASADP receive superior medal conversion rate? And then I think the last one, how does DSEC, that one of a 1.7 million annual allocation in 2024 to 2025 align with that one of disability 2.5 million, and again 2.2 million and 1.8 million hosting proposals for 2027 Continental Championship? So maybe if they can just highlight answers of those questions. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I don't want to ask too much questions.
Thank you, Honorable Pata. The Honorable Babu.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Thanks for the opportunity. Let me once more again pass my greetings to your good selves, and including the members and our visitors today, Chair, including our support staff. Mine will also not be long, but 1 or 2 things that have captured my interest, Chairperson. Firstly, one is to support the call that firstly would need to get an understanding as to why are we not providing the necessary support like we're doing to other provinces, to the other 5 provinces. It's worrisome that we are only taking care of those who are unable to participate fully. In fact, our attitude towards the support for disabled people is like we are treating them like the second citizens. And it is for that reason that we have developed an interest on having an understanding as to why are they only operating in 4 provinces, Chairperson? Why are they not having a footprint in other provinces? That is the first thing. The second thing that I want to get clarity, then I'll get into other questions and I'll request them to provide clarity, especially from the board or the council. Why in their representation, in fact, the representation of the board does not reflect an inclusion of young people in their board? That is the second part that I wanted clarity on. Then I'll come in with other questions, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Khabu. The Honorable Molatani.
Sorry, Chair. I thought maybe I'm raising my questions, they are responding, then I'll come in with other questions. That's why I said that let me raise these 2 first questions firstly, I'll then come in.
Honorable Molatani, just a second. Yes, indeed, Honorable Khabu, I will give you an opportunity. Can we have a response from the Honorable Member pertaining to the footprint as well as why there is no young representatives on your board? Who's going to respond to that? Mr. Van Heerden?
Good afternoon once again. I'm going to ask Mr. Van Heerden to respond, but we also we do have our structure. Our structure is we have the provincial structure, which is a national council, which there is young people. We do have a person that is dealing with the athletes commission that's going to be part of the NEC. But I'm going to ask Mr. Van Heerden to elaborate on that.
Yeah, please, if you elaborate on the current body. The member is referring to the body that is appearing before us now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Yeah, just briefly, our structure consists of a national council. That's our ultimate structure. That is where the 9 provinces chairpersons are represented, as well as the 8 sport code conveners. So, and also the athletes rep. So if we look at the National Council, our representation looks far better than the people attending. This is the National Executive Committee, and people are elected in the positions of chairperson and vice chair, president and vice president, and then treasurer, etc. So from the National Council, people are elected in positions. Now, unfortunately, the athletes rep could not attend, and that's why I also see there's a vacancy due to Ms. Muki's Grobler passing on. And Mr. Michael Lawrence was elected there, so there's a vacant position of the sport, national sport executive. So that will be filled. But if we go into the meeting settings, the National Council is the ultimate decision-taking body in SASAPD, which are far more better representative. Unfortunately, the people available today, we did not include our sport code conveners because then there's 8 people and also the provincial chairpersons. So that the NEC was elected at the last AGM and confirmed, and this is the people that's on the NEC. We are having a transformation and development plan because we are trying to recruit more people within the structure to address our representativity. So that's what you see in our strategic plan. We've got a whole focus area dealing with transformation in our structure. And not only disability people on the structure, but also from different ethnic groups and races. Thank you very much.
Honorable Khabu.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Probably if we can get a clear in writing as to what is the youth representation in their structures in writing, because when you speak of a national executive committee, our understanding is that is the highest decision-making body. And when in the highest decision-making body, we don't have a representation of the majority people in this country, then there is a problem. Second to that, I would like to get the clarity in terms of their transformation targets. What we are being presented before us as a committee is not a reflection of the demographics of this country. I would like to check with them as to Do they have a policy on transformation, and what is their targets, and how far is their targets? If they are unable to present those targets in this meeting, they can do it in writing, Chairperson. The other issue I wanted to raise with the department is clarity in terms of the support that they are providing to schools in terms of promoting young people or students who are participating in different sporting codes through schools program. I would like to get that clarity. I'm raising this because of, firstly, Chairperson, you look at our representation as a country when we were attending these Paralympics, it often tells you a story of a country that does not appreciate the demographics on the ground. And largely, the reason why we are not having a representation of Africans in particular is precisely because of where these African children are attending schools, particularly for the school for the blind. I'll give an example, like one school in the Northwest Province, in Christiana in particular, is called Christiana School for the Blind. These institutions are located in areas where they do not even get the support from provincial government and local government. What role are we playing as national government to assist these people? Because for as long as we have schools like Christiana School for the Blind that does not get the necessary support, it then means that the African children will not have an equal footing of contesting at the national space like these children who are coming from mostly what we used to call them the model school, model C schools. And it is for that reason I would like to get clarity from the department as to what type of support are they providing to the schools. The other issue I wanted to raise as a form of concern, I see different sporting codes are being accommodated. For the past 3 months, if not 4 months, we have seen blind cricket South Africa making waves, both on the side of women and men. I would want to get an interest in particular on the blind cricket South Africa. We constantly get messages or letters from Blind Cricket South Africa. I think the head coach there is Stephen Fisher, if not mistaken. And to a large extent in the presentation, I don't see it reflecting what type of support are we providing to them, and if not, how do we then make sure that these other sporting codes that are not compliant with the prescripts that have been presented before us, they are being compliant? I think, Chairperson, I would like to stop there for now and get clarity on those questions. If then I'll get a follow-up if I still have time. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to allow responses on those questions and give you a last bite at the cherry for your questions. And then I'm going to ask Honorable Molatsani. Any response?
Yes, once again, on the transformation target, I'm going to give over to the national office, Jan Waal, that's in the office. He's got all those figures for us, so he can do that for us. And then he can also talk on the state of readiness for Glasgow, about the long list, and also next year about the national championships, which is going to be in Stellenbosch, and the readiness of it, because Jan is in the office and he runs those programs. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Chairperson, just feedback on the question of the honourable member regarding the transformation targets that we've got. The current feedback out of the 4,695, we've got 594 African ladies, 77 ladies of colour. Indian at this stage, we've got 15, and then white Africans, we've got 118. That gives us the totals of 13% of the African ladies, 2% of color. Indian, it will reflect to 0% due to the big figures. Then on the white Africans, it will give 3%. Going over to the men, if we look at the 1,186 Africans that we've got, that is 25% of total. Color, it was 172, that gives us 4%. Our Indian gives us, we've got 13, it gives us a 0% for this at this stage due to the big impact. And then coming down to the white African males, it's 174. So coming down to the 4,695, the breakdown will be supplied to you, and it will be sent to you in due time as requested on writing. Then the next feedback regarding the Commonwealth, Commonwealth qualification.
Jan, can we deal with the questions? Members decide whether they want to ask questions on interrogation style. This one, let's only deal with the questions asked by this honorable member, then we can get back to the readiness issue. The other two issues outstanding from Honorable Khabu is the clarity on providing assistance in schools, with particular reference to the School for Blind in Christiana, and also a response on the kind of support for the blind cricket.
Okay, so thank you very much. Can I go to the response of blind cricket? Blind cricket falls under the emphasis of Cricket South Africa. Blind cricket classification system falls under IPSA, the International Blind Sports Association. So for the athletes to get classified, they must go through an IPSA classification process. We are currently, as SASAPD, the custodians of the classification system. So this is where, as in the presentation, Mr. Van Heerden said, that we must take hands, because without classification, they cannot take part. So this is where we have to sit around the table at the end of the day to resolve this, because they cannot participate if they do not have accreditation, even a national classification. So they needed national classification to be selected. Then they can go on to international. There they will receive their international classification. That's on blind cricket. If there's more questions.
Yeah, thank you. Can you just, for the clarity for committee members, explain your role with blind cricket?
Currently, sir, blind cricket is not with us as a federation. We only provide classification. Okay, as we are the custodians of classification, sir.
That's fine. And the issue of the Christiana?
The Christiana School is basically a club in the Northwest that's bordering on the Northern Cape. Northwest structure at this stage is supporting them. I know they're taking part in their different trials. But if there is any other questions regarding the school, I know they also travel to Kimberley quite often to participate in leagues there. And it's one of the how can I say, the schools that's on the border of the Northern Cape and all on the border of Northwest. So in the past, their school has taken part in our national championships in goalball, as well as they've got athletes going to the national championships. They also took part in provincial trials in the Free State so that they can qualify for the national championships in Stellenbosch at the end of the year for possible selection of Team Northwest.
Thank you so much. Honorable Khabu, your second bite on this particular issue?
No, Chair, I think my condition do no longer allow me to talk. Let me submit them in writing, let alone my support, giving them my support in terms of the increase of budget as a way of preparing ourselves for the next financial year, in particular the next coming leg. I'll submit the rest in writing, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Molatani. Honorable Khabu, you don't want to submit in writing because it's Friday. Oh, you are welcome to ask.
No, unfortunately, I just got to the airport. I'm moving towards the aircraft.
Okay. Understand.
But it's Friday, yeah, it's Friday.
Understood. Honorable Molatani.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good afternoon to yourself, Chairperson. Good afternoon to the Minister, Minister Gayton McKenzie. Good afternoon to honorable members, DG and your entourage. Good afternoon to SASCOC. Good afternoon to SASAPD and all the members who's on the platform attending this meeting today. Chairperson, let me thank you very much for the opportunity that you just gave us, and let me welcome the presentation that has been done. My first question, Chairperson, will be on DSEC. Will be on the DSEC. I think when I was going through their presentation, I found where there's made an allocation for 2024-2025, the allocation of 1.7 million. And then when they break up that 1.7 million, it said that 800,000 was for boccia development, 400,000 was for goal ball development, 300,000 was for classified, and the total becomes 1.5. So I just want to check with the SEC, 200,000, where is it? Because it's not appearing anywhere on the allocation that of 2024-25, this one of 1.7. I will pause there, Chair, to wait for the answer.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Member, Mr. Mube, Mr. Tebihai.
Thank you very much, DG, and thank you, Chairperson. The 200,000, Chair, would be for administration. Thank you.
Proceed, Honorable Member.
Chairperson, why does it not appear on the presentation? Because if it was for administration, it was supposed to appear on the presentation, because it means what is appearing on the it said 1.7, but when you go through the breakdown, it's up to 1.5. So it means presently we have been given the presentation that is not reflecting the true reflection. Number two, Chairperson, I just want to know how does...
No, Honorable Malatani, can just a second. The question is, why is it not reflecting the SEC?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mube will clarify, but if you look at page 4, at the bottom of that table there, where it says in the 2024-25 financial year, SASAPD was supported with 1.7 million to support the above mentioned programs. So the programs are mentioned individually, and then it says, including the school sport and federation administration. I think what we didn't do was then to specify what that administration cost is. But it does say that it specifies programs and then says the administration. But Mr. Mube, if you want to expand, you can.
Thank you, DG. I think, DG, you have clarified it. Perhaps we just focused on programs, and then we indicated in the slide, as DG has indicated, that there are other expenses such as administration. Perhaps we will take note when we prepare future presentations and we isolate and indicate administration as such.
Yeah, the Honourable Member also asked a very interesting question on the 300,000 for classification. Can you explain to the committee how does that work? Why must the association pay for classification? Shouldn't it be the other way around, that those where we have parallel structures should rather pay the association for classification? Why must they have a budget for that? How does it work? Jan?
Sorry, sir. Good. On feedback on the classification, classifiers has to be trained internationally. So what will happen is that classifiers will be trained. Classifiers will be taken to a sporting event where they will see the athletes to be classified. The classifiers is also on provincial level being trained. So the big budget that we are talking about goes about training. It goes about getting them down to the national championships to see all these different athletes. It goes about, if you look into, I'm only speaking on visually impaired, that there's a cost involved to hire the equipment for the testing because it's professional. So all that classification needs and all that classification that is done falls under that budget. that is proposed for, or that was done for classification, and that was showed on the slideshow. For instance, just to give you a quick rundown, for a classifier to attend the international classification seminar or to get qualified to become international, we're looking at this stage of approximately of 65,000 rand per classifier. So where we've trained in the past, this year we had the opportunity, and with support of some other sponsors, to train 2 international classifiers. And then we not even have
Chairperson, thank you very much. The other thing that I've checked is that out of 9 provinces, you only have a few provinces that have club. Western Cape and Mpumalanga, they have 2 clubs, but the budget it's not equal. I just want to check with the SEC, how do they allocate the budget, where you find that the provinces are having the same number of clubs, but their budget is not equal. The other province have the higher budget, and then the other province have the lower budget. How do they come up? In fact, how do they check which province need more budget than the other, but they have same number of clubs?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Tebihai will come in, and please also note, Mr. Tebihai, the question also regarding the provincials and the support thereof came from also Honorable Kobane, Honorable Mahato, and also Honorable Khapo. So if when you respond, please also just refer to that. I'm just requesting, Chair, so that because it was on the same area. Mr. Tebihai.
Thank you, DG and Chairperson and members and Minister. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Chairperson. I think we have got 3 honorable members. The questions were not answered. I think they can just take them all so that we can have one team. Thank you very much.
Honorable Makata, the norm with questions is members ask and await responses immediately, or members ask and then the department and the various presentations that has been made, they are coming with responses. So let's deal with Honorable Molatani. We'll come back to all of those issues that has not been attended to. Tisek, please proceed.
Thanks, Chairperson. Chair, let me indicate that club development is one of the programs that is supported through the conditional grant, and the conditional grant has a framework. The framework is provided for through the National Treasury's grant framework. So what usually happens is that the allocations of the conditional grant are allocated as per the allocation criteria, amongst which would include what is referred to as the equitable share formula. Now, that formula is the one that dictates out of the total allocation of the conditional grant, what percentage will go to Western Cape, what percentage will go to Eastern Cape, and so forth and so forth. So that formula is the one that then shows that you'll have different amounts allocated per province. And what that translates into is that each program funded through the conditional grant then will receive their allocation according to how much has been allocated to a province, regardless of the number of targets that are there. And that is a criteria not set by us, it's a criteria set by the National Treasury, including how allocations are done. However, in our case, we do make a special provision in terms of this allocation. For instance, we're saying we do allocate a baseline allocation that is equal across all, which is 20 million. And the next level of allocation of the remainder of the allocation is then done through the equitable share formula, just so you don't have provinces that have higher needs but don't even have matching allocation. So provinces like Northern Cape are really the biggest beneficiary of this criteria that we are applying, because if we don't do that, they'll be the least funded and Gauteng will be the most highest funded if we are not doing that. So the allocation coming through club development, where you see that there are provinces, it is allocation done through the equitable share. And what you see there is a reflection of how each province, in their own discretion, have then gone ahead to support and allocate. The others where there is zeros, it does not translate that there is no support at all. What you might see is that directly the province supports the structures without necessarily transferring to the structures. But that part of confirmation as to how the clubs or any sport structures for physically disabled are supported may be contained in the provincial reports, so that we can then see how many of those structures have been supported. But I'm safe to say that the allocation and what is reflected there may not necessarily mean that the province did not make any support to provincial structures. The same with the school sport program. And the school sport program, as we support the schools, each province allocated the grant is expected to provide certain deliverables. Amongst those deliverables is to send the clubs or the teams to the national championships. Those teams are inclusive of goalball teams, wheelchair basketball teams, table tennis teams, and provincial teams are composed of teams selected from the lower competitions. So it means there would have been schools programs at the lower level that culminated in a provincial selection that is then sent to the National School Sport Championships. And that's the system that we apply across all. That includes training. And as I indicated, training by its nature, it is mostly dependent on the structure's request for training. And that happens at a provincial level. So where structures exist, structures will make requests to provincial sports department then will make provision either directly or through the goods and services. Thank you.
Okay, I think let's go back as per the request from Honorable Makgata. Let's go back to the other outstanding questions before I'm going to give other members an opportunity. There was a question raised by Honorable Kobane on the state of readiness.
Yes, so the state of readiness regarding the Commonwealth, the long list of the athletes that will qualify has been submitted. Accreditation has been handed over to the members of SASCOC that will be responsible. Please remember that the Commonwealth is only a limited events in athletics. There is only 8 events for males, 8 events for females. How do they qualify? The qualification period will close on the 31st of March. Then they have to be in the top 8 rankings of the Commonwealth. After the 31st of March, the Commonwealth will send out their ranking list that's based on the World Para-Athletics rankings, and then final team selection can take place. In preparation for this, and to the build-up to the 31st of March, we've got 3 events that will be taking part. One will be in December, that they can still qualify and send up the international times. Then we'll have one on the 28th of March, where we will have an international event in Stellenbosch, and the next day we will have our national championships. That is also an international accredited event, so this will give the athletes 3 opportunities to still qualify and better their rankings for possible selection of the Commonwealth team. Then the readiness that was said about regarding the CP football. Our national championships will be based in Stellenbosch from the 27th till the 31st of March, where we will have all our different sporting codes that will be taking part, which of our athletics will be an international event. And we're also looking to possibly invite some of our other countries to come and take part. The CP football at this stage, the only member, it will be a national event attended by the international delegation of CP football at this stage. So our readiness, we are currently in the final process of entries. So by the end of December, we'll have all the necessary entries done and completed. All the international applications and the fully necessary documents were submitted. And we are now in the final stage to start with final entries and programs.
My apologies, that question was asked by Honorable Daniels, and then also the plans to rebuild from scratch.
Right,
Honorable Daniels.
Rebuilding from scratch is that we have to go and look, and I think this is where Mr. Van Heerden can also assist after I gave feedback. We have to go to look where I can't say went wrong. Where can we have more opportunities? Ladies and gentlemen, we must remember athletes living with a disability is not going to schools only for athletes with disabilities. They're going to mainstream schools. And lots of our clubs currently is schools, because this is where we pick up our young athletes and our youth coming through. So at the end of the day, we have to go and look, where can we get the youth? What is their pathway build up? Because you cannot work on a pathway from this year to 2028. That system is already too late. If you look at a youth squad that we have to work into to 2032 already, we have to start working with now. And the big challenge that we all must remember is our athletes can only be classified at the age of 14 due to medical restrictions and medical reasons. So we will start working with a young athlete coming through at the age of 14. This is where we can start working through the provincial level up to the national level and then into the international level. So we have to go and say, get more schools competing. CP football, let them play more. Then we have to go and look. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of sporting codes. Everybody that's got a sporting code, for instance, is wanting to cater for athletes with disabilities. Like Mr. Van Heerden said, para-netball, darts, bank angling are knocking on the door because they want to give athletes the opportunity. But what is the custodian of all of this? Is classification. If we get our classification system, that is one of our big pillars in our organization. And we must remember, our classifiers is volunteers. This is professional physios, OTs, doctors, eye specialists. It's guys that work for free. So if we can get a bigger base and we can get more of them trained, we can make the footprint even bigger in all the provinces. This is where you start. You start with classification. I don't know if Mr. Van Heerden still wants to come in on that, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think what we also mean by starting from scratch, we did an analysis during our strategic planning on what is the areas that we need to focus on. And remember, if I take a sport like swimming, for an example, actually our role is limited to classification if we really need to look at what is our role in swimming. But due to the lack of opportunities for development and junior swimmers, we decided to become part of the process. If we look at prior the inclusive or the transformation process where all the sports went to the able-bodied federations, we had coaches, we had technical officials, we had classifiers, we were geared to run swimming. But when swimming, for an example, took over, that that responsibility became their responsibility. Now, the challenge is the pipeline of young athletes is where the challenge lies. The same with cycling. I'm mentioning now swimming because I was in that environment for many years. But if we look at cycling, we've got the same challenge. Cycling South Africa, if you've got a youngster performing at our national championships and he gets elected to go to world champs, for an example, then Cycling South Africa would know about him and maybe include him into their structure when he leaves school or leaves university. But if a cyclist just didn't make it and started training hard, he falls through the cracks, because there's no opportunity in Cycling South Africa to pick up those type of athletes. So we said, go back to basics, get service level agreements with all the sporting codes that we started with SAFA, because remember, what do they call it? Amputee football wants to come in, blind football wants to come in. We the affiliate to IPSA. So SAFA can do nothing with blind football if they don't work with us. So our approach dealing with the way forward is that we're going to get service level agreements. What can you contribute? What can we contribute? Because at the end of the day, it's about the athletes, it's not about us. We need to support the athletes. So that's why we said we are basically taking each and every sporting code, breaking it down, and see what support we need to give. And that's why working hand in glove with the able-bodied federations. Otherwise, we won't be able to serve our athletes. But the question on classification, I think we need to remain the hub of classification. We get the support from SASCOC, and I think that's critical that we build on that relationship as well. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost done with the members that has previously asked questions. The Honorable Kobani asked about the how many African people they will respond in writing to that one. Honorable Makgata has spoke to how does DSEC in 2024-2025 align 2.5 million DSEC?
Thanks, Chair. Mr. Ngube.
Thank you very much, DG. Perhaps just to clarify, DG, because I needed to just have clarity on the 2.5 million that the Honourable Member was referring to, vis-a-vis what we have presented in terms of the allocations, Chairperson. So I don't misguide my response.
Okay, then there's another response from Honorable Makgata pertaining to backlog and also provincial participation with Paralympics pathways. How do they pathways? And the total budget, does disability receive rates?
Let me start with the question that dealt with the percentage. The percentage is plus or minus 1.73% of the federation's budgets. But Chair, we need to note that, for instance, there was a question that was asked around the blind cricket support. Just to note that whilst some codes are located within SASAPD, there are some codes that would be outside SASAPD, blind cricket being one of them. And in this case, blind cricket is then supported through Cricket Africa. And Cricket South Africa would provide the direct support to blind cricket of about 1.5 million a year. And then they also support them with additional services, particularly where there's international competitions. So just to clarify those questions. The other questions that were raised were in terms of the. I think we have responded to the questions on the budget, particularly in the provinces, and the spread of those budgets. I would like to believe that to a certain extent we have addressed the questions around the budget, unless I'm missing a question or two.
Okay, thank you.
If you allow me, can I just add a bit on the issue? The total budget allocated in terms of the spreadsheet that I use from my office is 96 million for Sport Federation, and there's a total of 64 of them. I'm talking to the current allocation as it stands. The total, if you average that one out in terms of the 96 million and the 64 organization, you come to an average of about 1.5. So just based on an average, it would then mean SASAPD is just a little bit above budget. But obviously, I think as the president of SASCOC was saying, that's not sufficient. And I was happy, Chairperson, to hear SASAPD also talking about other, efforts that they are doing. They spoke to Toyota SA, they spoke to National Lottery Commission, because I think also the question that came from Honorable Daniels was also addressed to us in terms of what is your plan in terms of the support and the development, and that's part of it. That is why we went through all these meetings with the federations, which we have finished now, Chair. I think about two weeks ago we did the last federation, and SASAPD was one of them. And now looking at their allocation of 1.7 and finalizing the transfer, because they got the first tranche, they will be getting the first tranche, which is being processed now. But looking beyond that, Chairperson, because the view, and I think Minister was emphasizing that, I'm not sure whether he will still do so in this meeting, was that let us then together look for other forms of funding, because the pocket that we are dividing is that size that we are talking about. So I just wanted to add that. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Khumalo. I'm now going to give Honorable Malatsane an opportunity again. Then we deal with the answers and responses of the particular member, and we go to the next member. Honorable Malatsane.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I just want to check with both the department and SASAPD. There are many people living with disability around our various communities. What plan do they have as the federation and as the department to ensure that they increase participation of people living with disability to partake in sports club activities? Thank you very much, Chair.
Can we respond to that?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, and I think I want to combine that question with what Honorable Daniels has asked as well around the plans to support and to develop the code and create a pathway. Chair, generally in the country, we have a population of just less than 7% of the entire population for people with disability. Now, in our sport and school sport programs in particular, the sporting codes that we provide assistance to, in the entire makeup, there's about 33% of categories that represents and are offered to categories of people with disability. Now, there's three types of disability. There's SASA, physically disabled, the SASA intellectually impaired, and there's deaf sport. All those three are the different categories that we make provisions for. So when we develop plans for school sport in particular and club development, we do so through streaming. So in a case of a sporting code like goalball, directly we engage with SASAPD on the plans for participation and development of goalball, and support not what we give them, support the plans that the federation itself has and work according to that. And we do so through our provincial structure, so that the support on the plans do not reflect what government intends, but amplifies what the federations and the structures want in that regard. And that cuts across those three main categories, including SASAPD. As indicated here, that the majority of the athletes that are coming through the program are coming through a school system, and which are also dualing as a club system for the federation. And that's where the main focus is. The only disadvantage or the only issue that we know is currently available is that we don't have there are provinces that don't have enough complement of schools with disabilities. And provinces like Northern Cape don't have, I think they have 2 or 3 schools, including Free State. There's about 3 schools in the Free State for people with disabilities. So the concentration and the pool of athletes come from a selected few schools with disabilities. And that's where the talent base is being provided. Is it enough? I don't think so, Chairperson. But in our plans for development of this sporting codes, it works directly with what the code and how the system has been designed to support the federation's plans according to what the outcomes of the programs are, which is the school sport program, where it intends to take and support.
Yeah, Tebogo, I think the member actually want to dwell into the support and plans. You know, in some communities, some of those communities don't want to take their children there. So I think the member is referring to the inclusivity of that particular plans and whether TSEC is happy with that. Is there any departments that you are working with, Department of Health, whoever, because experience taught us that some of those individuals and parents don't want to bring their children.
Can I add on that, Chairperson?
Please do.
No, the reason I'm saying that, Chairperson, is that majority of kids who you will always find excelling, especially on this people living with disability, majority of them you'll find that they are from the private schools. And it's not everyone who can afford the private school. There are those kids who are still in our normal location, whom you can see when they are participating with an able people that if they can be given a proper chance, they can excel. What are we doing? How do we cater for those people who are not in the schools, who are not in the clubs level? How do we bring them to be part of our programs?
Yeah, I understood you well, Honorable Malatsani. Can this respond to that, or even the department and as well as SA?
Yes, Chair. We through our partnership with Basic Education, with the Department of Education, our first access to what is referred to LSIN schools, learners with special educational needs schools, starts there with the Department of Basic Education. And as you know that directly we source we work with them to generate and get participation of these learners through that particular process. That's number one. But number two, Chair, is that the regular participation plans for school sport that we are currently implementing are implemented inclusive of the plans to get the LSIN schools in active and regular participation program. So what we refer to as a school sport plan is inclusive of this particular schools. Now, and when we go further with that, we have even said further that, you know, where we don't have enough schools to compete against each other, and that's the case particularly with LSIN schools, that we've got to create a competition or a system that makes them compete regularly, especially on a monthly basis, so that we are able to bring those schools that are far-flung and compete in one area. And you are correct, Honorable Member, that the talent that is in those schools, especially for the II and those that are physically disabled is quite far better in certain instances than with able-bodied athletes. And we've seen with some of the professional athletes that we have in the country that they've been able to excel. And that's the same thing that we are bringing out with this particular system, and you'll see in the school sport program with the numbers that we have, we are starting to see the turnout of this. Of course, there's still a social issue that we have to deal with, that you are raising there, Chairperson, that it is possible that some parents don't want their children to be in those schools because of the social issues that are there in communities, and we are aware of those particular issues. But unfortunately, in this instance, and it's not unfortunate, the only official institutional mechanism that we have is the MOU with education, and the entry to that is through this ELSIN schools that are there. Thanks.
Honorable Malachani, wrap up. We still have 2 members, and then I'm going to give other members a second bite on the chair.
Chairperson, you can give other members. I will come the second time around.
Thank you so much, Honorable Malachani. The Honorable Mutambi, followed by the Honorable Mtetwa.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to the Minister, the DG, and Team DSEC. Also to greet the board, the SASAPD board, and the SASCOC. Yes, Chair. I want to start on the presentation by the department. In particular, slide, sorry, Chair. Slide number 7. But let's start from 5. On slide 5, I can see there's a statement. You have put a lot of codes for athletes with disabilities that are supported by this. But where I'm seated with what is written there, I've got some few reservations. Unless you quantify and give us the breakdown per province on those type of programs, the codes that you are supporting, then I'll be very comfortable on that. That's the first issue.
Honorable Mutambo, you want it now?
I can finish on the department, they respond, and then I'll go to SASCOC, I'll go to SASAPD like that.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, I should think so that I cover my time correctly. So going to slide 2 as well is the same thing that I'm raising, because you are saying through conditional grants budget allocation to provinces, you do that. But then I should think also on that one, if we are to get that breakdown per province, so that we see indeed there's catering for persons with disability in sports. I want you go to slide 7. Slide 7, you are showing us the sporting codes, the age group, the athletes that are there. Then I get worried when it comes to the venues where all the sports are held. It's your major cities, Bloemfontein, Durban, and Gauteng. It's cities that are already advanced. There's no mention of the rural provinces. And honestly, as it is then, it doesn't reflect the dynamics and the demographics of this country. And I would like to get their comment on that one. And then with regard to the one that is coming, maybe when they talk to slides 8 and 9 for the 26, 27, and 27, 28, we'll be able to see this thing also going to all the rural provinces, because that's a matter that is worrying most of us. Then with regard to just to follow up also on what Honorable Kobane has raised in relation to club development. And then you see there on slide 11, honestly, also this matter,
because you are responsible for policy as the national department. And then it will concern you what is happening in provinces, more so that there are also conditional grants that are given. But to have a situation where in all these rural, in this slide, it's all these other provinces don't have clubs that are in development. It's 000 in most of the provinces. Then it's an area, and I want to understand what is the department doing to address this anomaly. Chairperson, on slide 13, we have been given a report that the South African Sport Association for the Physically Disabled is compliant with departmental policy requirements. They do submit the grant aid funding documents timeously. They are 100% compliant in terms of this presentation. But Chair, if you recall, on our meeting with Robben Island, I think it was on the 15th of October, I made a follow-up point on entity oversight, and which I believe it was not fully addressed. In that meeting, Chair, I asked if entity oversight was functional. And then it was in relation to the Robben Island Museum, who had not yet tabled the annual report to Parliament with other entities. And then I also raised the critical concern over Boxing South Africa, that it continues to perform poorly while receiving sustained departmental attention and resources, whereas other federations are performing better, were not similarly prioritized. That is the case in point, reading it in line what slide 13 is saying. And then I further asked whether the department had considered replacing Boxing South Africa with another code or structural model under the portfolio. And then the DG is on record saying that they have not yet considered replacing Boxing South Africa, but has noted our recommendation. And then the DG further said they recognize two structures within boxing, that is Boxing South Africa, which oversaw professional boxing, and the South African National Boxing Organization, which manage amateur boxing. And then we all know that they've got major challenges. And then though they serve distinct constituents within the broader boxing community, then and the ecosystem, then in the light of that, I want to follow it in line now with this recommendation. How is the department in consideration of its decision to identify federations with clean audits like this one to become an entity of the department? I mean, we all know that this entity has a responsibility to address the imbalances existing in sports, given their reach, and is advocating for disability in sports in the country. And then they need more funding, but they only get this lousy 1.7, in particular, while Boxing SA gets 20 million. I just want we then also ask, because we asked this question to say how much was allocated to Boxing South Africa again this year, and they still got the full amount, whereas there are compliance issues, while the rest of the federation receive a significant budget cut. Then I want to understand it from the Director General. What methodology did the department employ in making this decision that some will get their funding full, whether non-compliant, or that they don't bring reports as required, and others don't? I just want to understand that anomaly. That's the first question that I have for the department that I would like to get responses to.
The department.
Chairperson.
Honorable Daniels.
My apologies to do this to you, Chairperson, and to the Honorable Member. When they responded to my questions that I've posed, my hand has been raised since then. I can wait, but at your own discretion, I need you to also consider slotting me in at some time at your convenience, please. Thank you.
They have specifically responded to the two questions. I have actually literally read it verbatim to them. Perhaps you was not at your gadget, Honorable Daniels. The department.
Thank you, Chair. From the first question, Teuchai, can you respond? I'll come in and respond at in terms of that last question from Honorable Member.
No, thank you so much, Chair. Chair, as far as the breakdown per province, I think it related to slide number 5, if I recall very well, Honorable Member, of the participants as projected in our what we are saying here is that the numbers that you are seeing there is the entry, the maximum number of participants that each province should send. Now, I can get the closeout report on as to what this translated into as far as the provincial participation is. But we make provision that each province should send this number of athletes to the winter championships, to the summer championships, to the autumn championships. So that's what it's indicating with that particular slide. The second part to this question, which relates to where the events are being held. Chairperson, this one is quite a very a thorny one, but the reality of the matter is that the national...
It cannot be a thorny one. We cannot be defined to cities. Unless we are going to...
Yeah. No, I want to put it this way, Chairperson, that, you know, when you look at the total number of participants there, and you think of cities that have accommodation for this number of people, suitable playing facilities for this number of people, you can count a few in the country. And that's the limitation, and that's the reality of our infrastructure as well as available accommodation in some of these provinces and towns. We want to take these events all the time to other areas, but we are limited by this very same things. And unfortunately, you know, even Bloemfontein, Chairperson, for athletics, as you know now, that the stadium has lost its accreditation for with World Athletics as an accredited stadium. Now, we can never bring any talented athletes to compete there because their records, if they break it, will never be recognized. Now, that's another limitation because you've got to comply with certain international standards. You've got to comply with competition standards when you host these events. And the limitations are brought about by these things. So when we go to this, and every year, including now as we plan for next year, we've been consulting with various cities, and the level of compliance of these facilities it's an issue that we have a challenge with, and we raise it all the time with the cities that certain facilities ought to be fixed so that we don't lose, not only for the games, but for the entire sporting community. You can't lose an accreditation of a world-class facility. It compromises the events. It also makes the community there lose the access to hosting major events. So we are limited by that, and that's the point that I'm raising, Chairperson. And that's why we are confined to some of the cities because of those limitations that we have. Thanks.
Club development, the anomaly, I want to...
Yeah, no, I was saying earlier on that the allocation for club development, which goes to provinces, where provinces ought to implement programs. In the instances of the 4 provinces mentioned, it is where they directly transferred funds to structures like SASAPD to implement some of the programs. However, we are not excluding what the other part, which is that it is possible that other provinces, including those provinces, may have not transferred, but might have procured on behalf of the structures for those structures to be able to do their programs. That's where I was saying, Chairperson, we'll go further to provide the actual evidence of what was the actual support to the SASAPD structures that were provided, so that we give a credible information and factual information of what provinces did to support the SASAPD structures through club development during the financial year.
Chair, just to respond to the last question from the honourable member, the issues related to compliance of this particular federation, I believe they are reflective of the fact that, yes, they get funding and they do comply. And one cannot agree more with the honourable member in terms of the importance of this particular federation and what it does, especially with regard to athletes with disabilities. However, I do want to indicate that when it comes to the issue of whether it could be considered as an entity or not, the portfolio committee obviously can make a recommendation, and working with the executive authority, we would then have to look at the how part in terms of process. The Boxing SA chairperson was declared as a public entity. It's first of all, it's not classified as a federation. It's a public entity. Out of the 28 entities that we have as a department, there are 2 that are in the sport space, which is Boxing SA and SAIDS. And this one, in terms of the process of declaration, it was done through the South African Boxing Act of 2001, and that is when the declaration was actually done. Yes, there are challenges that are being faced there, and there are interventions that a department has actually introduced. They have finished developing, they have finished conducting the investigation. The report was ready, and they were due to come and present it to the minister and ourselves so that we can deal with the challenges of Boxing SA. However, I don't think I can in this meeting, Chair, say whether we can consider a replacement or not, because a process obviously would have to be followed also in compliance with the PFMA. So I think that is what I can say at this point, but as it comes through to us as a recommendation from the portfolio committee, we'll have to engage with the EA and look at how we then deal with that as a recommendation from portfolio committee. Thanks, Chairperson.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Khumalo. I allow members and even myself talked about boxing because we've made sound comparisons pertaining to how some entities operate compared to what is in front of us. So I would then, in that light, ask Honorable Mutambi to maybe prepare something for our next meeting for the committee members that we can submit pertaining to that recommendations for the committee. Honorable Mutambi, are you happy? Is there still questions you would like to respond to?
Thank you, Chair. That call, I will definitely do it, but there is one thing that remains unattended to. I've raised this issue. Maybe let me rephrase my question. Did you understand that the National Development Plans aims to create a country with reduced inequality, where the specific needs of persons with disabilities are integrated into all the facets of planning? And the National Sports and Recreation Act is also very eloquent in that. I'm raising this also to emphasize this to say persons with disability have the same rights like any other citizen in the country. And I won't emphasize what the Bill of Rights then say, because you definitely know it. But what I'm worried about now also, we know that this year you have given them 800,000 from the 1.7 million. And you know the responsibilities that they have as a federation. They need more money than getting this lousy. In fact, it was 1.7 million. Now it's even 800,000. So that's the issue that I'm trying to advocate. Then I should think. Then that's the issue that I wanted to emphasize, to say you definitely have to do something, that they are supported. And you know, people with special needs, they are not like able people. Their needs are more, they need more resources for them to have access. It's their constitutional right. Then coming to SASCOC's presentation, Chair, there's nothing about supporting this federation. We are given only with regard to their compliance requirements. But if you are to read Section 2 of the National Recreation Act, number 1110, it's very clear what is expected of SASCOC to do. And then also, the Act is very clear to that effect, in that it says what transformation, development. I will try to quickly get that provision of the Act and read it for you. Yeah, it says, the minister must recognize in writing a sports confederation, which will be the national coordinating macro body for the promotion and development of high performance sport in the Republic. Development for the promotion and development of high performance in the Republic. And then you have got a mandate as SASCOC to promote talent identification and high performance in sports. And then in your own words, as part of your vision and mission, you say, we are here to promote Olympism, humanity, and access to sports. Then you come and give us this presentation that doesn't say anything apart from the compliance requirements. And then as you are mandated by the law, you say nothing about how you are supporting this federation. Chair, I'm very worried, just that the person who presented is even left the meeting. But I'm very much worried, Chair, because it's like SASCOC's mandate is just to make sure, because we wanted to know what are they doing to support this federation, and understanding that these are persons with disability. And then, as I've earlier indicated in my submission, I just want to also read their article 1 of their constitution, Chair. It's very eloquent on these things, and that's why I want their response. They are saying SASCOC, it commits itself to a unified system of sports based upon human rights, principle of equity, diversity, and non-sexism for all sports persons. And then also they will make sure that they will achieve this equitable representation at all levels, and that sports shall never again be used to sow division and promote discrimination amongst us. Then they further say they will promote peace, cultural, and inclusivity. But then when I read this presentation, there's nothing that I can see that they're talking about persons with disability, Chair. And I'm very much worried, Chair. I'm very much worried, because also sometimes people put things in their constitution and say they are not aligned, because, I mean, it can't be in this democratic age. You have federations that don't even also push the interests of the the persons with disability. What they're interested on is them to comply. By hook or crook, they must comply, but they've got this social responsibility given to them in terms of the Sports and Recreation Act that they have to also support. Because I would have loved them to also, in their presentation, to talk to us, because they've got their responsibility, and they've also put it in their constitution that in terms of their main business, they have a responsibility to make sure that their members comply with the transformation charter as agreed in the EPG targets, and also collaborate with the minister in relation to the development of sports and recreation. But at the same time, even in their mission, they are saying they've got the responsibility to develop, protect, and promote the Paralympic movement in the Republic in accordance with the International Paralympic Committee handbook and the rules. But then they come here, Chair, and give us a presentation that doesn't talk to their mandate at all. We are just being told the membership compliance. And I don't think that was the brief that you said to them, Chair. You wanted them to understand what is it that they are doing to support this federation as it's part of as it is their mandate as prescribed by the National Sports and Recreation Act, Chair. I would like to hear their response to that effect. I'm very much worried, Chair, with this type of a presentation. To me, it looks like it was just malicious compliance because we said we're not going to listen to them without a presentation. But this presentation doesn't say anything, Chair. Over to you. I would like to hear their comments. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mutambe. I'm going to give TSEC an opportunity, and then I'm going to call upon SASCOC to respond. TSEC.
Chair, I thought the question was addressed to SASCOC. I might have missed it.
There was some for the department as well, and I think it was a very straightforward one pertaining to as to whether SASAPD must take over all the events and become an entity. I don't know whether you can just give a comment onto that, and also as to whether SASAPD will give a comment to that.
On that one, she did respond, but the issue I was talking about, the money, that is too little, and to emphasize what the NDP, the Constitution, and the law, I would have loved to hear the DG's comment on that, Chair.
DG.
Oh, okay. No, thanks, Chair. I don't really think what the honourable member is saying can be disputed. And the reference also to the Constitution, the NDP, and other, prescripts is actually fully agreed with. I'm taking note, Chairperson, of the concern in terms of the amount of allocation. Obviously, we are at a planning phase for the next financial year. It's one thing that we have to take seriously into account. As I said earlier on, Chair, we cannot dispute the importance of the role that is being played by this particular federation and what it does for the athletes with disabilities. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Khumalo. President of SASCOC. Please unmute.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, I must say I'm disappointed with the lack of understanding, and I'm very frustrated. SASCOC has been defunded, even though it's a legislated body, to carry out its duties. So we've not received any funding. Let's just be clear on that one. No funding whatsoever, only funding for events where we have to take athletes to. That funding doesn't come to SASCOC to carry out its mandate. But notwithstanding that, we have sent para-athletes to the para swimming as well as the para athletics, where we created international champions, world champions. Then let's just talk about the other aspects that are affecting how we run ourselves. There are 26 para-athletes on our Bidvest Operation Excellence Program, funded by business, where these athletes get SASCOC support. And we do that because we know that is how these athletes are going to develop. Secondly, SASCOC's responsibility, according to the Act and the National Sports and Recreation Plan, has been eroded by government. SASCOC is supposed to be responsible for high performance. But who's running the academies program? Government. Who's going to run the SA Games? Government. With
President Hendricks of
okay, sorry, man. Sorry, sir.
I think the one line that there was no finance is enough. I have to stop you there for the sake of time. What you are saying now is of paramount importance, because we are meeting on the 2nd of December, and we need those information to make recommendations.
Please. So, because thank you, sir. So,
there was another concern by the honourable member that in terms of the delegation of powers, the report does not speak to that.
Just give me some guidance, Chair, please.
Honourable Mutambi.
Thank you, Chair. And I was trying to say that the report itself, and I do sympathize with you, and I'm glad you are raising with us what is the obstacle of you not meeting your mandate, not meeting the aspiration in terms of your constitution, because I went through your constitution to understand what you stand for, what does the law say about you. That's what I did. But the point is that this report that came is only talking about annual compliance requirements of the Federation, nothing else. Then that's why I was trying to draw from your own constitution, from the Act, to say you've got this also mandate to support this Federation. And there's nothing about that, about support of the Federation that is in this presentation, except for the compliance, their compliance part that they are required. It's a certain aspect of your constitution, but the actual issue that you have got a role to play in line with the constitution, there's nothing in the report. Maybe that's why I said on the meeting of the second issue of rightfully said, Chair, they will be able then to give us an overview of how are they supporting all those federations apart from the compliance issues.
That's 2nd December.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and I appreciate that. And we will be engaging with you in that regard. Thank you so much.
Okay, Honourable Mutambi, I am now going to give an opportunity, if it's fine with you, you can have a second bite later on to the Honourable Mtetwa.
There was just one last thing, and I was not going to come back, Chair.
Please mention
it. Was in the question to the President of SASAPD. I'm trying to understand from her, despite that, beside the 1.7 million, which this financial year they only got 800 million, which they get from the department. How else has the department been supporting them? I'm talking about support, and that's why I emphasize the DG, the NDP provision, the constitutional provisions, because here you are dealing with the most vulnerable community in society. I also want to understand from the chairperson, the president of SASAPD, that are you getting any form of financial support from that question? In fact, I've already addressed it from SASCOC with regard to capacity building and the development program. And then also, I want to understand, because now this year, DSEC has given you 800,000 instead of 1.7 million. Is the cutting of the budget assisting you in achieving your mandate? And also, I want to also understand from the department, to say, DG, this cutting of the budget of Federation, is it actually assisting you as a department to achieve your mandate? And then if that's the case also, if then there's still money, if you're giving them money in tranches maybe, when are you going to release the rest of the money? Because we want your timeline commitment, and how much are you going to also support, intending to support this federation this year? Those are the last questions, Chair, and I won't come back again.
Dr. Kumalo?
No, thank you. The department did with all the federations, they got those tranches of payment. In this case, SASAPD received the 800 plus, which was indicated. They then had to come and do presentations to the department, which they have done. So as I had said, all the entities have come and done presentations and been engaged on the development programs that they are doing. Upon finalizing that process, the department is now has started processing. The MOAs are with legal services as we speak. The honorable member said he wanted timelines. The timelines that have been given by the sport branch is that all these payments, it means the balance of the 1.7 million, honorable member, would have been paid by the 20th of December. That's the date that has been provided to me as the AO. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, Minister, this cutting of the budget becomes a hot potato, and we understand your view. There is bad apples and good apples in the process, but we must say that the cutting was across the board, with both bad and good apples. Your response, Minister?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm just going to say two things, Chair. The rest I'll say on the 2nd of December. You know, as the minister, I came in here and I found, and I'm going to name all of them, I found people that have been receiving money from government, not having officers. I found people, I'm talking about federations, that there's no governance. I found all of that, so I'm going to take, I thought, you know, I'm not one person to get excited to name people. So what I'm going to do on the 2nd, I'm going to present to you and to this committee all the federations that I'm referring to, say this federation didn't have an office. This federation has done this. This federation has done this. Now, if you as the committee wants me to just continue giving money, and we said to them, we will then hold, let's take wrestling for instance. We met with wrestling. We look at the wrestling, they got half their money. But after meeting with them, we realized we need to give these people more, the way they run their affairs. We need to give them more money. And we did that. And we've been meeting all the federations, Chair. So please let me not, because I see some people use this committee to come here and they think this is a bashing, let's bash the department, because the department has not been hitting back. You know, Chair, I want, and I'm going to ask you to ask the credit card of every CEO of every member of federation. You did it with ASA. Why can't you do it with all of them, including SASCOC, the credit card of SASCOC? Do it with everyone, because I will also share, as soon as I get this afternoon, what the whistleblowers will give me regarding the federations. You can't you only go after the one guy in ASA. ASA is not the only one. Now, this committee has come across as only going for ASA and his credit card details. And I'm not saying it's like that. I said it comes across like that, and that is the talk on the street. Let us go to all of them that has been working, that has been getting government money. Let them show us if they bought a bottle of wine with the money. Let them show us what they've done with the monies. If they've wined and dined people, they must tell us how did that help athletes. Let's do it with all the federations, and that's what I'm trying to do. There's no federation. Netball got more money from me than what they originally planned. So people want to flock a dead horse. In conclusion, to the committee, I will take the committee in my confidence on the 2nd of December, where I'm going to present first, not the department. I'm going to present, and then the committee must say, do they expect me to continue? There's no department that will not get money. There's no federation. But surely they have questions to answer, Chair, to say, you got so much. Why do we have letters from your athletes saying that they must sell water rolls to get to buy a uniform, but we've given you 3 million rands? Please explain to me. The half that we've given them was only to say, go on so long, but answer our questions. You know, Chair, in conclusion, there's federations that said to us, I think it was shooting, that said to us, thanks God, I think it was shooting, if I'm not mistaken. I'm speaking under correction, but I'm nearly sure. They said, you know, we are so happy that you've stopped this monies because this is what has happened. And I'm going to name every federation by name. The department has done very well. People were just, they think this is their birthright. But then the athletes must sell world rolls to buy uniform. Now you ask yourself, if you get 4 million or 3 million and your athletes must sell world rolls, then there's a problem, Chair. And all I was trying to do is to find solutions together. And I've done that with 12, 13 federations already, where they like saying, we are happy. So not wanting to belabor the point, this bashing will stop on the 2nd of December once the department is coming to present. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Minister. May I just respond to a few things? The committee ourselves, you know, we are not an investigative body, and we don't want to be labeled of interfering. What happened previously was there are reports and financial reports which the committee members interrogate, and as a result, one of them, which Honorable Molatsani said, I want an investigation, where's the credit card? Only then it was found, when that information came in terms of our oversight role, that was exposed. That is the first thing. There's an oversight role from the TSEC itself. And the members, in terms of their questions, it is also not a committee who are unhappy about the allocation. One must also consider, Minister, in this particular case, I think SASCOC has been I almost want to say in the red, or what 11 million rand that was given to them. Now the question raised to SASCOC, why 1, 2, 3? SASCOC said we cannot do it because money was limited. That is a fair response from SASCOC, but I like what you are saying, Minister. Let's next week, let's iron it out. And I think it's about time for DSEC also to play the oversight role. DSEC must ask these credit cards because DSEC is giving this money. We only have our eye on a few of these things. And Minister, you should have been in our meeting with SAFA the whole day. It was a utterly disgrace how members have been treated, how members left this particular podium when direct questions has been asked, the fool they have made out of this committee. And I am happy that you are seeing these things. So these things must be opened up next week. They must be told, here is it, we have found 1, 2, 3. And I think from the accountability side and also from the executive, that is what the executive also have to do, and that is what DSEC have to do. We only deal with stuff in front of us, interrogate, ask questions, make recommendations. So I believe we will definitely solve these issues. I am now going to call upon Honorable Eugene Mtetwa, the last person. Then I'm going to give a second bite to everyone, and I would appeal to members that we have to be out of this meeting before 6 o'clock, or rather the latest at 6 o'clock. Honorable Mtetwa.
Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon to you, Chair, the honorable members, the Minister, the Department, SASAPD, and the portfolio committee staff members. Chair, it is quite obvious that we are doing things not in a consistent manner. The fact that, as I want to follow on the submission made by Honorable Mutambi, that you have boxing essay that gets so much, you have boxing essay that is recognized by an act of parliament, but others are not. And I will also further say, this has also shown us the disadvantage of what we are calling. I wanted to find out from SASAPD if they have a national team. Do they have a national team, or do they put together individuals when it is time for competitions, either the Olympics or the Paralympics or any other competition? Do they have a team that is regarded as a national team?
Yes, sorry, I'm going to ask Mr. Anval. He's a high performance manager. To answer that, yes, we do. He will take us through the steps on how the athlete qualify to be part of the national team. Thank you so much.
Feedback on the national teams is the following. Building up to World Championships and Paralympics, team delivery will be part of with SASCOC, as they are the registered Paralympian affiliate. So what will happen is a long list will be drafted, a selection process will go through, because remember, this will be for our sporting codes, individual sporting codes. Yes, for team sporting codes, we are in the process of selecting squads to go forward and to have a possible future of playing in continental games and even going forward. But the mandate for Paralympic sporting codes and the 26 codes that is delivered for Paris was at Paris and build up to LA. We are in working close cooperation with SASCOC as part of they will. Yes, we are sending teams abroad. We have sent a boccia team abroad. We have sent a swimming team abroad. So we've got teams, but in delivering of Team South Africa and a national team going to World Champs and the ultimate going to Paralympics, we are in cooperation working with SASCOC, as they are the organization that's responsible for team delivery. But yes, we've got a national team in our different sporting codes. We've got squads in our different sporting codes as well. So.
What I want you to give me as a clear answer is that, do you have a team that is regarded as a national team, or do you put a team for a particular competition based on the process that you must follow given by SASCOC? Do you have an existing, like for instance, we know Bafana Bafana is a team. We know Springbok is a team and who's playing in the Springboks. So even if they replace players, but we know that there's a team called Springbok. Do you have a team? Or do you have a list of individuals that you can put together when there's a necessity to do so for a particular competition?
So we've got squads. We do not have a team as like you said, and under the mandate of SAFA or the Springboks, because remember we're catering with 8 different sporting codes. Yes, we've got long lists and we've got squads that can be part of a team, sir.
Do you have a team, sir? Do you have teams that are dedicated to serve as national teams? Or do you have a list of different athletes that you put together if it is if you are required to go for the Paralympics, you must get this particular swimmer, you must get this athlete who is current, maybe because the other one who was there in the last performance is no longer there because she doesn't or he doesn't belong to a national team. Do you have a team?
Let me assist, Honorable Mtetwa. When we participate in the Paralympics, are we regarded as a team? And what is the name of that team? What is the status of athletes that participated at the Paralympics?
Can I assist you?
Paralympics, we participate. Sorry, Mr. Hendricks. You can carry on.
Mr. Hendricks, proceed.
So, Chair, SASCOP is the only organization legislated to deliver Team South Africa, which is a multi-coded to multi-coded events. So we work with all our federations, including SASAPD in the case of the Paralympics, to deliver Team South Africa. So what we do is in the build-up to these events, they provide us with a list of all the athletes that they think are going to be able to bring medals over a 4-year period. And then as we progress, we then shorten that list with them in consultation with all the federations, including SASAPD, to say who are the athletes that are going to make the final list. And that list will be called Team South Africa. So SASAPD, necessarily because it's a multi-coded structure, unlike Cricket South Africa, that would announce a team.
President. Okay, I'm satisfied with that response. What I want to try and poke or prompt is to show how unsustainable the lives of those who are athletes within this particular sector. Those who are disabled, they have no careers that you can say it will last for 3, for 5 years or 10 years, because it is not certain that you will be part of the Paralympics next year or what. It depends on your current performance. You would agree that people are selected based on their performance currently and not because they have been built up from the beginning. And that's what the disjuncture is, because when you talk of grassroots, I think it was Honorable Moletsane who said, what is it that you are doing? You know, part of the department's program is social cohesion. And social cohesion is not just to bring people to events to come and get food and t-shirts. It is to bring, even in our society, especially where we come from as the Black society, people who are disabled, who are living with disabilities. Some of them are even hidden in the houses. People don't want to brag about them or to take them out because they are seen or they regard them as a curse to that family. It's something that happened because of certain things. There's no education around people with disability that would go. Like, for instance, when it comes to arts, to music or arts generally, you have a program as a department that talks to increasing access to markets, which includes education. Part of that is educating public. I don't hear anything that is said to say in terms, and Honorable Moletsane was correct that it is from private sector schools, I mean from private schools where you will get these people, because they get support from the beginning. We see them even in the malls, they are walking around with their, but with Black children, they are sitting in their old wheelchairs. They are hidden in the house because they cannot be part of the society, broader society. And this is where the department is failing. Thus, I am not surprised when you are giving an organization that deals with such special people, giving them 800, half of what you had given them. Then I was going, and some members have said, it is not enough. Now you have halved it, almost halved it with that. Let me come back to the department. The CFO, how many staff members do you have as a department? The total staff complement of the department. And how much do you spend a month on salaries on those staff members?
That's an easy question with an easy answer. CFO.
The CFO, I'm not sure whether he joined. He was in a meeting with Treasury when we started here. I don't think he's in this meeting, Chair. We'll
get the response, Honorable Mtetwa. Proceed.
Okay, I'm sure the DDG knows the estimation of salaries that are paid every month.
No, I think we'll get it in writing. The CFO is supposed to give that info.
No, I wanted to reflect deliberately on the proportionality that is lacking, the understanding that is lacking in terms of people are getting salary to do certain jobs. But what they always often do, and I will emphasize this, unfortunately, Minister, hashtag we are not numbers. I would assume, or I would vouch for the fact that what becomes a success of any program, it is the numbers of participants as opposed to the quality of participation. I don't know if you would agree with me, President of the association, that what you have been reduced to as people living with disabilities, it's a number. How many paraplegic, how many people living with disabilities have participated in this, but not quality. Because when you look at what I was asking, the question I was asking is that there is no continuity from grassroots into professional participation, and then beyond the professional participation, what happens to that person when they are done with their sporting life? There's nothing. You can't plan for it because you don't have a team. You don't have people that you are committed to. It's this and one, this one, this one. You just pick and choose whoever qualifies for that particular competition. The only time people with disability are taken note of, it is when there is Paralympics, when there are competitions, big competition. But during that, during the break or during the time in between the competitions, nothing happens. I say so because even in the arts and culture, you have the Babsimlangenis who are forgotten. But wait until they die, then the people will remember them, that they do exist. They are forever waiting for events. We are not numbers. We cannot be reduced to events. There's life that you must channel towards this person. See to it that you have identified a talent from the grassroots level. You nurture that talent in order to qualify for it to be on a professional level. And after the professional level, this particular person who was a sporting star in his time, he's now coaching others. We don't have that. You don't have that. That's why you are reducing this budget to this amount. It's a disgrace. The reason, again, I'm asking if you have a team. We as South Africa, we don't own the national teams. And I'm saying this without fear of any contradiction. We don't own Bafana. We don't own the Springbok. We were woken up abruptly to that issue, that we don't own Springbok. Springbok is privately owned. That is why we have no say in what they do. They're only accounting to that particular small amount that government is giving them. And that is the reason why government is giving small money, because it has no sense of ownership to this. I wouldn't invest in something that I don't know. Tomorrow, SARU would decide, no, we are collapsing SARU, we don't want, and then we're selling this particular team. Government will have no word. to say, because it is owned by SARU and it's a private entity. So I think we need to rethink and have consistency. We can't have Boxing SA that is by an act of parliament, and then we have certain other sporting codes that are not covered. That we need, as a portfolio committee, we have to beg SARU to give us a report. And that report must be redacted, because what secrecy do you have against the portfolio committee? The reason why they behave like that is because we don't have any ownership of this. We are just calling them national teams, but we don't have the sense of ownership, and that is why we are not investing enough on this, on the development of these sporting codes. Thank you, Chair. I have no further questions, but I just want to say I commend you, SASAPD, with the little that you get and working with such difficult people to work with, special people. Honorable Malone was right. They are specially gifted, because what they can do with their disabled bodies, some of us with able bodies cannot do what they do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Tetwa. May I just make the following ruling for future meetings? That when any senior person of any entity, in particular DSEC, leave our meetings without apology, that it must be reported to me or on the WhatsApp group where all the members are present. It does not send a good signal out. It's a complete disregard for this committee, its authority, and even in this particular case, who we are dealing with here, SASAPD. And for me, with the CFO on such serious matters, leaving this meeting without apology is not only unacceptable, but is a breach of professional courtesy and also, you know, taking advantage and abuse the decorum of this parliament. I see that Honorable Leah Potgieter has also joined. She has indicated that she's going to join 3 o'clock. I am going to give her opportunity, then I'm going to take a second bite from the members. And please, I'm asking them to be short and sweet.
I've been raising the hands, Chair.
Yes,
you know, I don't take time.
You're going to get the second bite. I'm going to give you the first one.
Me too, Chair.
Minister, I'm going to ask you to wrap up. I think this discussions that we have is a very good leading to what's going to transpire on the 2nd of December.
It's just a point of order, Chair. Just a point of order. It's not long, not even a minute.
What is the point of order, Minister?
Honorable Mtetwa has said that we don't care about Babsi Mlangeni, we don't care about that. When I became a minister, I went to make sure that Babsi Mlangeni get honored at the awards. We gave Babsi Mlangeni 100,000 or 80,000 or somewhere in that region. I'm not 100% sure. But we gave him something, we honored him, and I met with him and I said, we've got plans for him. So I don't want Honorable Mtetwa to think I'm like people that have forgotten about our legends. I've not. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. I gave you a chance to
I'm done, Chair.
I think it's just more than fair that you have responded. I thought you should do that at the end, but it's fine. The Honorable Potgieter, followed by the Honorable Kobani, Daniels, and Molatsani. Then I'm going to close this meeting. The Honorable Potgieter.
Thank you, Chair. I did join at 3:20, so I have been online. Mine is just short and sweet. I would just like to take the Minister up on his offer. I find very much when things don't make sense that, you know, you tend to interrogate them a lot more. He has offered to provide a presentation on the federations, as well as accounting for their sort of spending of funds that have been allocated to them. That would be a very welcome and holistic picture on how much money the federations have been given and how they have been spending it across the board. So if we can possibly get some timelines on that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
May I respond to that, Honorable Potgieter? We are having a meeting next week, the 2nd, with the department on that particular issue. So the report will then surface on that particular day, or obviously before that, for members to go through that. And I think we do have our timelines pertaining to submissions of those presentations. The Honorable Kobani.
Thank you, Chair. I won't take long, but I wanted to say why the meeting takes long every time is because the presentation, there are songs that don't have chorus. That's why they challenge us, the room, give us the room of question. Because once they write the report, they must put a chorus. Once you sing a song, you must put the chorus. You must prepare nicely your report to make us easy to answer. But something I wanted to say, to the disabled people in Malipompo, I've got the data because my foundation, I work with them from 2015. I know the whole Lipompo, I've got the full data of them. That is why I was saying, why my province? I'm the one who's working with the disabled people. And then we are not here to unrespect someone. We are here to fix it because this is our job as a parliamentary portfolio of sports, arts and culture. We are not harming anybody, but I'm asking in future, bring your presentation clear, block us there and there, tell us everything. Don't represent and leave us a hole that we can give you question and question. Give us a full report, then tomorrow we'll be friends. Because our job is not investigation, it's our oversight. It's what I want to put here. And everyone must go and prepare. And then the minister, you say you're gonna reveal everything. That is good. That is good because sometimes who's getting jail is the poor people, the rich people that don't go to jail. We must jail them all. We must not take a side. But I want to say South African sport for disabled, keep going the whole 9 provinces. We are supporting you. We are not here to hammer you. It's the first time to have a meeting with you, but that is a great job. It's like a great, what's this in the school? You teach a grade R. It's a problem. But I say, God bless you, but get all the provinces and more budget. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kobani. Just a point of correction, when the presentation's been made, everyone was on time, but also when we do our interrogation and questions, I am very much eager to give everyone that opportunity because quite a lot of things is coming out where we as members of parliament and entities can learn from one another. The Honorable Daniels, and my apologies earlier, I misunderstood you pertaining to your input, and I have the message that you actually wanted to ask a follow-up. Honorable Daniels.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. For a moment, I took it personal, but after your explanation, not anymore. But thank you so much. Yes, it was genuinely just a follow-up on my questions that I've posed earlier on. So thank you for affording me the opportunity. To SASAPD, you know, I can see the golden thread in the responses to my question. And I must also acknowledge that I've learned quite a bit from their responses, and I want to thank them for that. Now, reflecting on my questions and the responses received, there was mention made that more schools are needed. My question around the rebuilding from scratch is what I'm referring to. The response was we need more schools involved. There was mention made that we need to work towards 2032, which to me is so realistic and so authentic that it's not just a thumbsuck thingy, and I'm very happy for that soberness within that response, because that does speak to rebuilding and it's a time process involved. And then there was a statement made that classification is the custodians of all of this, and then that you can only be classified from the age of 14. Now, when I listen to those responses, just one more response that was given, one explanation around the three categories, the differently abled people or physically differently abled, hearing impediments, and the Alzheimer's learners with special educational needs. I know for a fact that in certain municipalities, or even in certain metros, there's only one Elson school, two if you're lucky. And because of that challenge, and remember, there was mention made we need more schools involved. So when you have one Elson school in a region, then I cannot say how you're going to form a league. How are you going to have your athletes participating against one another because of that challenge of the deficit of schools? And I can tell you now there is a great need for more Elson schools. But back to this point, there is the rebuilding. I see it as a wish list of SASAPD, which hinges very, very much on the critical MOA that's been signed between DSAC and the Department of Basic Education. Now, here's my questions. Because of the MOA signed between the two departments, we need to mitigate the challenges that I've explained with the Elson schools, the very few thereof. Since the MOA has been signed, how's the engagements been between the two departments? Is there anything tangible that they can share with us that will assist SASAPD in their ambition to rebuild in time for 2032? Somehow, I would expect that some engagements took place, some discussions, some emails, or whatever form of communication was used there. But because, and I land on this point, Chairperson and colleagues, because emphasis was made that more schools are needing to be getting involved in this to rebuild, I just think it was great for that MOA to be in place. And I would appreciate the department to just take us into confidence and give us just a crisp, short pitch on where they are in terms of the MOA, because that is really what is important to assist SASAPD in rebuilding from scratch. I thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you. A response?
Thank you, Chair. Teboho, crisp and short, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, yesterday we had a number of meetings with the federations on other matters, but one of them was this regular participation for schools. And we are saying there are at least about 4 other provinces that we are here to consult on that concept. It's precisely going to address what Honorable Malon Daniels is indicating here, especially around ensuring that the schools within regions are able to play together, and there's a model that we have provided for that. And I think even SASAPD is part of that particular discussions that we are undertaking. So I've taken cognizance of that, because it is at the basis of why we would have Olympians and the smooth pipeline. So that part has been taken care of, and that's what we are addressing with this regular participation model. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Malatani.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think one question Honorable Malone has already covered me, saying that the schools, you don't find those schools in every location. They are here and there. And my question, Chairperson, I just want to check with the department. Can the department submit a full contact list of all disability sports clubs that are being supported by the department? And lastly, Chair, I want to support the issue that was raised by the minister regarding the entities and what is happening in the entities. And on that note, I think I will wait for the meeting of Tuesday. But my last request, as the minister have just said, that it looks like we were demanding, we did check the credit records of ASA, but other entities, we don't do that. My request, Chairperson, I know you've answered it correctly that we are not an investigating team, but all in all, we need to know what is happening with the funds that are being allocated to the entities. Like, as we always said, that we follow the money, we follow where the money goes. I think the same thing, Chairperson, that needs to happen is that on the report that will be submitted by SASCOC, they must also submit the credit card documents. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Malatsani. Honorable Mteto, is that a legacy hand? Looks like.
No, Chair. No, it's not, Chair.
Okay, I was taking a chance. Proceed, Honorable Member.
Chair, it will just be a very short comment, and I'm directing this comment to the minister. I don't know whether the minister has deliberately decided not to hear me when I speak, or maybe we're speaking past each other. I said events. When I speak of events, that 100,000 is an event. It is something that happened just once. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking about us changing lives of the people so that they are not dependent on government by coming up with programs, dedicated programs. I know what I'm talking about. When I talk about Babsimlangen, I know long before your time, Minister, I spoke to the President Jacob Zuma, requesting President Jacob Zuma to facilitate the meeting of Babsimlangen, Steve Kekane, Koloi Lebone, to meet the President, the then President, which was President Mandela. And my suggestion was based on the fact that they only have heard of President Mandela came out of prison and becoming the president. Their sense of seeing is by touching him and shaking his hand. President Zuma did not take it. He agreed with me, but did not take it of that suggestion until all of them have passed on before Madiba passed on, except Babsimlangen. So when I talk about Babsimlangen, I don't literally mean Babsimlangen. I mean people with disabilities. But Babsimlangen has become an icon that you can talk about in the music industry when you talk of people with disability. Not that I'm singling him out because I'm saying you have never done anything. I appreciate the 100,000 that you gave them. I appreciate the 100,000 that you gave, or whatever amount that you gave to Mama Abigail, but they don't have a program that looks after them. I wish the department could have that sense of thinking that, you know, these people are too old to go to the hospital and go and be checked. Can't we come up with the SILAPA? That's what the SILAPA would have done, to go and pick up these people or send people to go and check their high bloods, because they are at home. They're at home. They don't have that access like we do have. Even ourselves, we are shy to go to the hospitals to go and queue, especially those who are HIV positive, because when you queue in the line of receiving the ARVs, you are in the Shashin newspaper on Sunday for that, because nobody respects our rights. Nobody respects our rights. So I'm trying to say to you, you need to understand the people that you are dealing with. Let's have a sitting where we analyze what type of people are we dealing with? How can we approach issues rather than saying, I did this, I did this. That has been done so many years, so many times, but it has never changed people's. I was said to have received a relief fund, which was 10,000 rands. Meaning that for 2 years I was supposed to live on 10,000 rands. And this was published even in the newspapers. So I'm asking you, don't be like other ministers. Change your attitude towards me and listen to me with an understanding. Where I have done wrong, I've said something wrong, you will correct me and I will accept and apologize. That was not a point of order, that was a point of debate, Chairperson. Thanks.
Audi Ultra Patrum rule, the minister. Please close or respond as well if you want to.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I would just take 30 seconds to say that on the 2nd, as promised, I will come and give the reasons as to why we have given half of the money, and with a promise of clean governance, you'll get the rest. Just answer a few questions. I will come and explain that and why some has answered questions, they even got more. I'm very fond of Honorable Mtetwa. The problem that I suspect with Honorable Mtetwa is that he gives, but he doesn't want to receive as good as he gives. He makes allegations and he can't make me not say anything. It is not personal. He has done great for musicians. I think he spent his whole life fighting for the rights of musicians. But when he makes allegations, I have to respond. And I want to say he mustn't look at it and take umbrage that I take it personal or I've got something against him. I listen to his music. I've got respect for what he has done. He mustn't look at it that way. Team fight was me and the committee, Honorable Muletsani and Honorable Khabo. They fight here, then we'll meet in the corridors and we will act like we've never fought here because they understand that I don't take things personal. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much. I'm going to close this meeting. I have quickly written some closing remarks, and I want to read it to this committee. I want to say...
Chairperson, sorry to disturb you. I am going to write something on the notes. Can you just consider it before you close the meeting? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, but please speak to it, Honorable Maletsani.
No, Chair, I wanted the department to further explain to us what kind of support has the community clubs in both urban and rural areas have received from the department. Even if they can send that answer later through the email, I don't mind, Chairperson.
Okay, that's granted. Honorable Daniels?
Thank you, Chairperson. Very briefly, you say you got your closing remarks already. I'm just sitting here and hoping that part of your closing remarks, I'm hoping that part of your closing remarks will say that those who are going to be exposed on the 2nd, they are not allowed to abstain or excuse themselves or send in apologies for not being able to attend. It's a must for them to be here, please, President.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to start with that. We appeal to everyone, and it's actually right at the end. You will see right at the end that will suffice what you are saying. But I want to say to SAAPD that your strength is defined by limitations. It's not defined by limitations, but by resilience and vision. In your presentation here today, you have reminded this committee that inclusion is not charity. It was a sound message for the minister, the committee, as well as the department to ensure that opportunities and resources are being made available to you. We should work as SASAPD on decentralization of events. Although a process to consider having SASAPD as an entity could be long drawn, but this committee should consider and explore this process in the coming new year. To SASCOC, and I want to use this word that my daughter loves so much, you have a humongous task. This meeting today has revealed that parallel structures and silence, Honorable Daniels, have no place in our sport. I want to appeal to SASCOC to ensure that those federations invited, I want to appeal to the department that those federations invited should please be present. With that said, honorable members, I declare this meeting as closed.
Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Honorable Malatani.
Salute.
I just
want to check our meeting speak. Is it in person or online?
Chabu, Zoleka.
Okay.
The meeting of the 2nd, please respond. Is it in person or Zoom? Let's talk about it on the group.
Okay, please check because I just need to book flights.
Noted, honorable member. I can't get out of the